Oh, hello, you beautiful nerds. Welcome to the Drunk Banthas podcast, where we talk about sci-fi, fantasy, horror, and all the popular art that we love. Also, we do it drunk. Mostly. I am Jedi Master Grayson, and I'm joined, as always, by my co-host and brother Bill. How are you doing, sir?
I am doing pretty good, man. That's right. It's another episode of Drunk Banthas podcast.
That is true. We are
doing my Mr. Poopy Butthole impersonation. It's another
podcast. Tonight, guys, we have a really great show for you. We are talking about Batman, the Caped Crusader. We are talking some HOTD. We are talking Kite Man. Hell yeah. And as always, we're talking shit. Oh, yes, please. Save your applause till the end.
Oh, shut up, y'all. Shut y'all ass up.
The applause is always appreciated, studio audience.
Yep.
But before we get into the nitty gritty, let's do a little housekeeping. First of all, I just want to let you guys know that we got a new video coming out this Wednesday on the NerdsatNite channel and on the Drunk Banthas channel. I know that you guys all just watched Deadpool and Wolverine, and you're just clamoring to do a marathon of all the Fox X-Men movies. Oh, this guy knows what's up.
He's prepared.
He's ready to watch the least memorable Wolverine movie.
I still haven't seen that one. That's like still the one that I haven't seen. I've seen the first 10 minutes and I'm like, I gotta go do something else.
It's better than the first Wolverine movie, but it's less memorable.
But it's worse than everything else.
It's like, it's better than breathing in carbon monoxide, but it's worse than drowning.
But guys, yeah, if you're curious of how you're gonna tackle your X-Men marathon, just because that timeline is so wibbly wobbly, check out my video that comes out on Wednesday. It'll give you a nice comedic guide on how to watch the X-Men movies.
Yeah. Tomorrow, Wednesday,
right before Thor's Day.
4:20. So if it's 4:20, was it Eastern time or Pacific time?
Pacific time.
Yeah, so 4:20 Pacific time, man. Do you know where your friends are? Smoke you one. You know what I'm saying? So it's like early in the morning in the East Coast, but not too early. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's perfect. Wake up and get high and watch some YouTube. Right?
Yeah, it's perfect
before
time.
Work.
That's what I like to do not before work, in case any of my coworkers are watching.
My coworkers had to find me, boy.
Also working on a Deadpool and Wolverine video review, so keep your ear to the ground for that. Who knows when that's going to come out, because you know that boy Jedi Master Grace be lazy. But also, before we get into the comic book corner with El Jefe, that's Jeff in Spanish.
Well, you got to introduce him first of all.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I was gonna do the.
You can't just be throwing him some comic book corner and he ain't even got a piece of the show yet.
You also gonna do the housekeeping before we introduce our guest, but we can introduce our guest now. What's up, Jeff? How you doing?
For the listening audience, he just signed off. He's out. I'm out.
I'm proud of that one. Like, how is it taking me this long to think about that? I'm good. I'm good. Had a good weekend, cooking just some delicious food and playing a lot of video games. So good stuff. I've been happy with myself.
Yeah, it sounds
amazing.
It sounds like a good way to spend your time. Before we get into El Jefe's comic book corner, I just want to remind you guys that every Thursday we got the Bantha Bunch hosted by your favorite cousin Bill. Do you know what you guys are gonna be talking about this Thursday, Bill?
Us?
Yeah, what you guys are gonna be talking about?
On the Bantha show?
Yeah.
No.
The Illuminati.
I have no idea, man. You know, I just try to make sure this show is good. Then Tuesday, I worry about what we're going to do on Thursday.
That's fair enough. Fair enough.
I was came to contribute, but I don't have the bandwidth to contribute to this one, to contribute to this show, the Drunk Banthas podcast, in a productive manner.
And do the
well, no, there's just no and because I'm not doing it.
Yes.
There can't be no and because I'm just not gonna do it.
Money Blakeweather and I are going to see an awesome horror movie. What looks like an awesome horror movie on Thursday called Cuckoo.
Ooh.
Maybe talk about some good horror movies. What are some of your favorites? I don't know.
Yeah, that'd be a fun one.
Maybe.
Yeah, Cuckoo. Cuckoo looks crazy. I'm definitely seeing that Thursday night as well.
That looks so good.
Oh, also just saw this movie called Oddity. If you're looking for another good horror movie, that's a nice little sleeper horror film that's out there that I really enjoyed. A sleeper of a sleeper with sneakers on. But
Jays.
That's going to be uncomfortable.
Yeah, I actually agree with you on that.
Ophelia says, "What up? Thanks for joining us tonight."
What up,
Ophelius?
And Athelius, you're right on time because it is time for Just Comic Book Cornell.
Yeah. All right, if I have to.
You must.
I must. All right.
How does it feel to be the white LeVar Burton? That's what I want.
It feels like a lot of pressure that I'm not living up to.
All you need to do is get you a earring to go on your left ear, and then shave your beard into a mustache. That's
I have an earring.
There you go. Look, man, we just got to get you a Michael Jordan hoop, and then you're good to go.
Oh man! All right, so we are on to issue 5 of Shadow Doctor. So we left off with he's finally getting some patients, some African American patients. They're there and they're finally like listening to, and yeah, that is very true, Othelius. Oh shit, that makes Jeff the Bantha's white Toby. So
Miss Kunta.
What's up, talking?
I won't go say that.
What up, talking turd? Oh, continue.
So we see Nate finally getting some African American clientele as well, and these are also, I think it's important to point out, his first like legit clients, because these aren't just mobsters. After that, so in issue 5, we start with it's just, you know, a page that says 1930 Chicago, and it's a lot of guys being like really shady, and like they're just having this quiet talk, like, all right, hey, we got to be careful because I mean this is the sort of thing we got to keep it secret. We can't tell anyone. You know, this is something that could be not just a threat to us, but our families too. So we really got to be careful about this. So with that said, I want to know who's in, and it cuts to a room and there's a dude in front of a fireplace, and then just like a bunch of like these high back chairs circled around him, and everyone's just saying, I am. And it's revealed that they're in this nice lavish house with this giant fireplace and bookshelves and nice liquor and all this. And the guy says, after everyone says, I'm in, the guy says, good then. I call to order the first meeting of the Secret Six. Our first order of business, slaying a giant. Now, if you don't know what the Secret Six is, those are the people that really moved to bring down Capone. And for a long time, like obviously they were secret. So everyone's like, no, they don't exist. It's not really a thing. But that's also partly because it was businessmen around Chicago. It wasn't even the government. These really famous businessmen were like, hey, we're losing money because of the mob and because of prohibition and all of this. We got to do something about Capone or we're going to keep losing money. So then it cuts to a scene of a guy playing some festival games. And it's shown that he's on a pier at Coney Island with his son. And while he and his son are walking and he's just talking and having a little bit of, you know, a nice conversation with his son, someone off screen just goes, Alexander Jamie? And the guy's like, nope. I don't know who you're talking about. That's not me. And the guy's like, no, that's you. We should talk. And the guy goes, you don't know me. And the guy's like, no, I know you. And eventually gets him in close. And he's like, sends his son off to his mom. And he gets the guy in close. He goes, all right, let's go over here. And he goes to grab some hot dogs. And the guy's like, I'm not hungry. And the guy goes, you're going to have a hot dog. Alexander Jamie's like, you're having a hot dog. And the guy's like, no, seriously, I'm not hungry. And he's like, no, you don't get this. You just came out here, called me by name, interrupted me with my son. With my son, you could have put all of them in danger. So you're going to take this hot dog, you're going to take off your jacket, and you're going to act like we're old friends who just saw each other. So we're starting to get the idea that this Alexander Jamie guy, he's kind of a big deal, and there's something going on because like he's being all mysterious and stuff. So the guy that's talking with him is like, all right, yeah, that's cool. So here's the thing. I'm here because I want to recruit you. And he's like, I don't work for the Bureau anymore. And you're sitting there like, who's the Bureau? Well, it's obviously the FBI. Although at the time they were called the Bureau, just the Bureau of Investigation, I think. But anyway, so this guy, he's like, who sent you? I'm out. And the guy goes, I think you'll want to listen. And he's like, all right, fine. Who, why are you here? Who's calling the shots? He goes, a group out of Chicago. And he goes, and don't worry about the names because I don't even know who they are. And he's like, what could they want? What is all of this about? And he goes, you're going to bring down Al Capone. So this guy, Alexander Jamie, if you know your history, he was actually a part of the Untouchables. He was literally one of the people that was responsible for bringing Al Capone to justice. So after that, we cut back to this weird scene of this guy just in a car with his wife. No, not there yet. And this guy's just like quoting Shakespeare to his wife. And she's like, oh, I love Henry VI. And he's like, that's Othello, you dumb bitch. And she's like, oh, I love that one too. And he's like, God, I hate you so much. At least that's the subtext that I got from it. What's really happening is he's just quoting all these different Shakespeare things. He's being very, very patient with her. He's got a little more class, but it's interesting because like he's doing this, he's telling this to his wife and everything while his kids are in the back seat clapping, and he's like, all right guys, just real quick, we just got to stop here, I just got to pull over, do a quick errand. And she's like, really, here? And he's like, yeah, don't worry about it. And they're like, okay, and they're all just looking forward. They're like, da 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 da. And the guy gets out and walks to the trunk of his car and opens it up. And there's a dude fucking tied up with chains and a gag in his mouth in there. And he's like, hey, you know what? You kept your promise and you were quiet. Didn't hear a thing. Thanks. That was really sweet of you. I'm not going to keep mine. And then he throws him over and into the water where the guy just sinks to his death in the water. So pretty quickly, you can take it that this is a mobster. Next we see him get back in the car and the wife and the kids are unaware. So he's just like, okay. And then he keeps giving them Shakespeare quotes, driving them home, a little bit of exposition. And then the next page we see there's just this door and clearly he's on the other side of it talking. And the door has hand grenades, like duct tape to it with like fishing line going to a cinder block. So we see this guy talking on the other side of the door. Then we see the door kind of crack open. Then we see him lift the door. And then you just see there's a scene of just tink, 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 tink. And the guy, and he just goes, my necessary end. And then that's it. It just cuts to a bus in downtown Chicago. And we see Nate, and he's sitting there, and he's making googly eyes at this woman. Now, the important point here is that she is a white woman. So I know that's a random thing to point out, but in 1931 Chicago, a black man making eyes at a white woman and then talking with her and actually like getting her name, that's a really, really big deal. But I mean, Nate, he does it anyway. And he ends up talking to her a bit more and saying really smooth. He's like, I know I would regret it if I just didn't get your name. And it's like, all right, Nate, good job, buddy. And then it cuts to a scene of them walking down the street. And then it just cuts to a scene of them on a table fucking straight up. She's just riding him. And
in cheeks.
and they are going at it. And then we just get one of those little text squares, the one where it's clearly Nate's narration, and it just says, I wonder if she knows she changed the course of history. And so,
and I might use that next time.
right?
I might use that next time. That's awesome.
And the reason why is because the next scene is Capone's men kicking in the door, rushing in with that guy that we just saw in those previous pages. And this guy is just an absolute mess of blood. You can't see a face anymore. It's insane. And it's so funny because the mobsters just go, oh, my apologies, sweetheart. And it's like, what are you doing? And they're like, we brought him to see a doctor. He's like, and Nate's like, she's literally covering herself with a sheet. Nate's got like a towel wrapped around his waist. And he's just like, well, you should have taken him to the morgue. And it's like, come on, Nate, you got to do something. And Nate's like, no, he's dead. And they're like, oh.
So I thought that was a joke.
Thought we gave it a shot. And then Nate just has to go to this girl. And he's like, okay, Rafa, I'll take you home now. And then we just see Nate on a bus with her. And then we see Nate on a bus alone. And then we see Nate walking down the street. And then we get some thugs who are like, hey, you're Nate Calloway, right? And he's like, who are you? And the guy's like, get in the car. And Nate's like, and the guy just says, if I was you, I'd listen to me. And then we see Nate get into this car, and these guys are sitting across from him. They're like, hey, you know who I, and by the way, so if you're just listening, Othelia says, didn't his dad make him leave town for this? Buddy is just determined to play in the snow.
He is.
And yeah.
But also
very true. Based on the other pages of this book where we see him with his son, that kid's pretty light-skinned. Just saying. So
just throw that out there.
Just saying. So Nathaniel's in the car with these guys, and they're like, no, don't worry. We're just going to give you a drive. It's no big deal. He's like, do you know who I am? And Nate just goes, you're Joe, and I'm going to mess his name up, Aiello. A-I-E-L-L-O. Yeah, white man.
Joe White.
And that's the thing. This is the guy that's at war with Capone. So Nate is fixing up all of Capone's men, getting them back out there, and now he's in the car with the guy who's been trying to kill all these guys. Yeesh. So Joe's just sitting there, and he's like, no, I know exactly who you are. You're the doctor fixing Capone's men. You're the one. And Nate's like, no, that's not me. And Joe's like, and he's just like, don't play dumb, man. It's and I thought this was interesting. He goes, don't play dumb. It is beneath a man, especially one that overcame so much to get where he is, which is just like,
yeah.
I think it's interesting that you're noting his talents while still not realizing you're being racist.
Yeah, it's like you use my racist against me.
I can't believe you overcame. You're black. That's you should be so proud. And it's just like, wow. You're threatening to kill him while not realizing you're a racist. That's real interesting stuff right there.
Yeah, that's character depth right there.
But then Joe's like, he's like, dude, I gotta admit it. It's pretty clever. Who would have thought having a black doctor take care of all these guys and because again, back in those days.
Yeah.
And he's like, it's not the best because you're putting all these guys back on the street. But then I realized I could turn it into a strength. And he goes, Capone's injured men have been healing really quickly. You must be really good at what you do. And he goes, yeah, I'm going to need you to stop being so good. And it's like, what? And he's like, listen, maybe you don't actually flush out an infection. Maybe, one of those veins, you got it all except for one little nick. He's just, real mobster, like maybe this, maybe that, while just flat out saying, let them die.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so Nate's obviously pretty freaked out because, he's working for the most dangerous mob boss in America. And the guy that's at war with him is like, well, you turn on him or I kill you. And so it cuts to Nate in the hospital in the future with his son. And they're talking, and his son's just like, I can't even imagine how scary that must have been. I can't imagine like going through that process. And Nate's like, yeah, I mean, if I don't do what Joe says, he kills me. But here's the thing about Capone that people didn't get. Capone, he saw things. He was real good at reading people and reading situations. So if I even tried to go along with this, Capone would know, and that would kill me in a second. If he even suspected it, he'd kill me. So it cuts. What? Yeah. I just didn't see that coming. Oh man. So it cuts back to the past, and it shows Nate, stitching up a guy, and Capone's in there, and he's talking with him, and he's like, I gotta get home. May's worried sick. She'll be so upset if she finds out, someone tried to kill me again. And they're talking a little bit, and Nate's pointing out, he's like, man, I can't believe the bullets got through. Your car's armored. And Capone's like, evidently the windshield wasn't. Oh, no. And then the guy that is actively getting stitched up, he's like, you're lucky. And the guy's like, oh, what's happening, boss? Mobsters. And then
it needs to be like a stuffed animal that you squeeze, and that's what he
Mobsters.
Oh, my God. Let's be honest.
Do Ray Liotta's voice to do it.
Honestly, if The Sopranos came out after the time Build-A-Bear was really popular, I think that would have been one.
Yes.
So then it gets to a point where Capone just switches the subject a little bit, and he's like, Nate, by the way, I hear, when they brought Donnie in the other day, I heard you had, and this is a quote, they told me you had a broad here, Nate. And Nate's like, I did. And he's like, is that a problem? And Capone's like, no, it's not a problem. We all need to get some. What's her name? And Nate's like, Rafa. And Capone goes, Rafa, huh? It's a beautiful name. What's her last name? And Nate goes, does it matter? And Capone's like, doesn't matter if you tell me. And so like Nate's obviously a little worried, and he goes, Fisher. Her name's Rafa Fisher. And this is where things get extra weird. So now Capone goes, German. For a moment, I thought you might be an Italian woman. He's like, all right, guys, let's get going. And he goes, can you imagine a good Italian girl with a... he goes, a German, on the other hand. And then they're all making fun. They're like, dirty Germans. It's fine for them to get with a black guy. And this is the part where now things start changing. Nate's hands start trembling. And then Nate just it's just a page of, I'm assuming, what Nate has seen in his own life, and also just obviously what's happened in America. And it's literally just a scene of abject horror towards African Americans. It shows slaves, it shows lynchings, it shows fields. Yet this scene right here, the whip in the hand, the woman with just with those whip marks across her back, and yeah, it's all just, it's a lot. And then the next scene is just Nate just sitting there. What's up?
Some levity, Othelia said in the chat, me sitting here with a German grandma.
Me too, Othelius. Oh, man. So,
man. Can you imagine? Can you imagine?
So the next scene cuts to Nate just sitting on a chair. There's something behind him. It just says, the only letters you make out, P-O-L-I. And he's just talking, like, he's just kind of getting introspective. He's like, when this started, I was an infant. And then cutting back to the beginning of this whole story, you'll remember the snake and the mouse. And he's like, I was unaware I was being eaten. He says, but my fury, the injustice, it remade me. And we see a guy just like, hey, Mr. Calloway, you can follow me. And we see he closes a door that says Department of Justice. Oh. And Nate walks in, and there's a man that says, can I help you? and the nameplate on his desk says Chief Investigator. And then it just cuts to this room with these 4 white guys all smoking cigarettes, of course.
Yeah.
And Nate's just saying, no, but I can help you. And this is how the entire series ends.
Wow.
Nathan Calloway went to the Justice Department, and he is a big reason on why Capone was caught.
That's pretty incredible.
Wait a minute. He was snitching?
Yep.
This is a terrible story.
and there's one more page. It's just pure text, and it's from the author, and I wanted to read that out. And it says, Shadow Doctor. And it says, thank you for reading. Thank you for coming on this journey with me, for sticking with the family story. If it was even a 10th as meaningful to you as it is to me, then I'm glad for it. My grandfather worked hard to make a better life for his family. The position he was put in, because of nothing more than the color of his skin, was desperate and dangerous. I'm astonished he pulled it off. I'm glad he did. Sadly, I never met him. Nathan died before I was born, but his legacy is a lasting one. He made a better life for his family. I owe my life, literally, to what he endured and what he survived. I don't know if that I could have. No, in fact, I'm sure I could not. I guess what I'm trying to say is, thanks, Grandpa.
Damn.
Grandpa.
Yes.
Damn.
And that is Shadow Doctor.
That is beautiful, Dan. Thanks for taking us down that journey with this story that is just so it's kind of like Stranger Than Fiction. You know, it's like some of the most fantastic, amazing stories are actually true. And this is just like sounds just like a very emotionally compelling and just deep, unfortunately relevant story to read. So yeah, I implore everybody to go out there and read Shadow Doctor. I'm definitely putting it on my Amazon. It's been on my Amazon wish list basically. Started this. One of these days I'm gonna buy it. Athelius Maximus said in the chat, Nate leaves the South to escape scary white men showing up unannounced to his door just to get to Chicago to have the same thing happen every day. Yeah, unfortunately.
You can't run from your problems, baby. So fuck them.
Yeah, especially back then.
You know what I was thinking last week?
That's kind of like the like a more sexual diversion of that Twisters thing. It's like you can't face your fears. You ride them.
You ride them. Yeah.
But you just
that
like ride them in a completely different way.
That made me not want to see the movie. Right? Maybe not want to.
That is a stupid lie, but I do like in the movie. In the movie, they do like say like, "Hey, you just kind of say things like you don't really saying slogans that don't mean anything."
You got to stop with your YouTube feed because you just say stuff and then it doesn't mean anything. You got to stop following these red pill YouTube channels.
I can't wait till that shows up on Max so I can watch that like 6 more times.
So something funny that I was thinking about last week after last week's issue was it's weird the things that we have because of the mob.
Yeah,
Prohibition's over. Large part because they're like, well, this went the other way when we outlawed it.
Yeah.
Expiration dates on foods.
Right.
Yeah. Yes.
And at least in Chicago, this is a weird thing. But if you think about it, African Americans trusting medicine went at least in Chicago went a far way because Nate was there and he was only there because of the mob.
Right. Yeah. He was a trailblazer because of the mob. And even though, like you said, the motivations were, icky. All this. Well,
yeah. I mean, it was just called being black.
Yeah. It was being black at the time. And even like the world's which year the World Series was fixed.
The Black Sox.
Yeah, the Black Sox. Yeah, like it's crazy how much the
Meyer Lansky said to have set up the Black Sox. They played the Red Sox that year, if I'm not mistaken. Very upset about it. They won.
Yeah, it's crazy how like the mafia has such an imprint on history. This is just another one of those really great stories. Do you know what's gonna be coming around the corner for the comic book corner next?
Well, we could go back into Shadow Man which
right.
I read that first time. That was a good one. I do like the idea of sticking with another one with a good black lead. So I was thinking we could also do a volume or just a volume. So like a volume is usually about 5 comics.
Yeah.
I was thinking we could do one of Static, might be fun.
Oh, Static is cool. Yeah.
And he had they kind of restarted him just a little while ago. So I thought that might be a good one. But yeah, if anyone has suggestions, I have a lot of comics and I am always buying more because I'm a fucking nerd.
That's right. All y'all got to do is leave a comment or go over to NerdsatNite on Instagram or Drunk Banthas on Instagram and just go ahead and say, hey, you dumb son of a bitch, this is the comic book that you should be talking about.
Yeah, you don't have to be as angry about it.
Why?
Agree to disagree.
Exactly.
If you're not going to curse at me, I'm not going to pay attention.
Exactly. I don't know that you're passionate about it if you're not cussing. Just be casual.
If we want, I could also do just like straight up novels. I know one series that I'm personally obsessed with, and I could just do a couple chapters or even just a chapter at a time. But I got one that's basically Game of Thrones mixed with Avatar: The Last Airbender.
What?
Noise.
That sounds insane.
Well, I got a question. Do you have any? This is bad. Lord of the Rings-esque stuff?
I mean, I own The Hobbit and all the Lord of the Rings books.
Well, there you go. I guess there you go. Because, we might need some clarification of things, or at least some like little touch, like, they do a lot of callbacks with the new Lord of the Rings shows coming out.
I've never read the Silmarillion, so I think that's where a lot of the show is supposed to be from.
Yeah, supposedly, yeah.
I don't know. I'm just asking.
Okay, we were going to employ you as our resident Lord of the Rings expert once the new Lord of the Rings show comes back.
Yep. You're our book expert, period.
I do have lots of books.
You got Michio Kaku back there. Yeah, you got Michio. See?
Oh, boom. Shit, he actually does. I thought you just named a random book. But yeah, guys, tune in next week to see what Jeff has in store on Comic Book Corner. But we're gonna move on to our next topic of the night. We're talking about DC's Kite Man.
Hell yeah!
Episode 4, Portal Potty. Hell yeah! While moving above Noonan's, Kite Man notices a lack of photos from Glider's youth, but she refuses to discuss her background with him. Meanwhile, Bane accidentally travels back to 1986 after defecating in the apartment's toilet, where he falls in love with Glider's mother.
He called the shit poo.
He called the shit poo. What did you guys think of just like the concept for this episode? We got like childhood trauma wrapped up in a toilet time traveling adventure. Bill, I'll let you go first.
I thought this was crazy. I'm not sure if I was I think I probably said it last week. I'm not sure if I like what they're doing with Bane, but it's just like it's a little crazy. I would have preferred, we talked about this, I would have preferred them being more like making him more Latino as he's supposed to be in the comic books or whatever. But like, because we've never had that explore. He had a Latino name in the Batman Forever.
Well, he's from he's from,
or was it wasn't Batman?
Oh, Batman
and Robin.
Yeah.
He was the prison that he grew up on and everything was on the Caribbean island of Santa Prisca, Cuba.
Right. And that's what I'm saying. Like, I just feel like nobody's ever really leaned into that. You know what I mean? As far as live action retelling.
Live action, no. The game did a little bit. And the entire mask is supposed to be a luchador mask.
Yeah, exactly. Which is why I felt like it's just ignorant to a certain degree to run away from it. But neither here nor there. I just was like I said, like I'm just trying to figure out if I like where they're going because he's such a buffoon, and that voice makes him sound more of a buffoon. Like,
well, maybe it's a good idea that they didn't make it like maybe there are more critics of like, oh, you're gonna make the only Mexican character or only Cuban character in the show
Latino.
Like, Yeah, you're gonna make him the doofus.
Right.
Did you guys watch? Are you guys familiar with It's Always Sunny?
Yeah,
I am.
Oh yeah.
Chardy McDennis too, where they're like, you could just you're supposed to do an accent of wherever they put, and he like touches like Uruguay, and they're like, I think any South American accent will do, and they immediately go full on Cholo. It's like, no, that's not what I was saying at all.
Yeah.
So maybe it's a good thing they didn't do that with Bane.
California accent.
So yeah, to answer Talking Turds question, yes, we're talking about a time traveling toilet. Kite Man.
You seen Hot Tub Time Machine? This is from the same bathroom.
Yeah, but you have to drop a deuce or pee for it to work. And that's not bullshit.
That's literally the rule.
That's Bane shit. Okay,
That's how it is.
Rim shot.
So Kite Man. Do you have a rundown? Do you want to read the rundown?
Yeah. I mean, well, yeah. I can go through like the next.
Okay, because what I was gonna say is that it was crazy how they explored time travel in a cartoon where you never have to keep it like organized with the time travel shit. Like it doesn't have to be right. But they pretty much did a good job on this one as far as staying within the rules of time travel. But I'm really interested to see what happens going forward, considering it looks like we're going to be episodic. We're not just going to just do random episodes, and we're going to have like a new storyline going with old girl's mama. Ma Dukes was foul and just left. But she ended up in prison where she belongs. So.
Well, I don't know if she was in a prison. The gas leads me. Well, that's the end of the episode. We'll get to that later.
Yeah. She trapped, whatever it is. She just being bad, not in a good place in life.
I love. So here's a fun one. Bane was sent back in time to the year I was born.
Yeah, same. He was sent back to the. I was born a month and a day before this.
I was born 2 months after he got there. That was fun.
There you go. Yeah.
But I also loved how when Bane does get there, he opens the door and just starts yelling at them for like cat calling and all this stuff.
Right, yeah.
So I love how, in a way, how like basically they start the episode off in the 80s itself is more of a villain than Bane is.
Yeah.
Those kids should be in school.
What's next? Chocolate beer? Can you be a little kid?
They should be wearing seatbelts.
She should be talking more for a blowjob. I think that's one that he missed. That's on the edited. That's on the cutting room floor.
But I do like, to your point.
Chocolate beer, though. Remember chocolate beer?
Yeah. Chocolate beer. Even root beer. Time. You don't have to call it root beer. You just call it so kids can drink something that they can call beer. But
just getting them young, baby. Starting them out young.
But I to your point, like this is a show where you could just have standalone episodes that don't really mean anything. And this episode is kind of that. They could have just ended it where it doesn't have any continued story. But
so how dare you?
Well, no, I disagree with that because I mean the entire point is they're supposed to be delving more into Glider and Kite Man's relationship and like, hey, what's the next thing you do in a relationship? You move in together and you ask about family. I think it's just supposed to be pushing that whole thing along in a ridiculous fashion.
And we also find out about her family and like tragedy and like her backstory, which we didn't have before. And it's a good way to get the exposition out without like having a whole episode where she's like, I'm so sad.
Just an episode of her on a therapy couch with Harley.
Right.
Just being like, oh, I get it. You're an orphan.
Exactly. And like, I'm not really fucking with the Harley character in this universe. So I'm glad that we're not leaning on that for for marketing purposes or for entertainment purposes in general. Just staying fair. I'm liking that they're staying away from that. Like we're trying to do a Kite Man show.
Yeah, this is its own show.
Yeah, this is
so far it hasn't been Kite Man dominant either. So it just shows you that they could have easily done that, like leaned on Harley, but they're not. And so I'm fucking with that.
Yeah, they've only used her just in like that pilot episode. Talking Turd said in the chat, I do. Yeah, her.
It don't matter.
Talking Turd said, I do like some time travel. I have not watched the series, but I have seen a couple of videos. It looks pretty violent. Golden Glider has a kill count, and Homelander's that is, you're not wrong.
You're not wrong.
She's got the body count for
sure.
You
to have not seen it, you sure have seen it.
And yeah, this is definitely a pretty violent show in the same vein of the Harley Quinn show.
Yes, ashtrays and McDonald's. Put it in the comments.
Ashtrays and McDonald's. I can't do his voice.
That was great. Because the guy who's doing it can't do it either. But anybody, anything that you remember that you would go back into the past and be like, oh shit, they got that? Like definitely smoking in a restaurant is one of
while you're pregnant.
For sure. Oh, smoking while you're pregnant is even crazier. I like that.
Yeah,
I guess I don't. I like it though.
Speaking of irresponsible parents, later on in the episode, through her brother Captain Cold, Kite Man learns that their alcoholic bickering parents frequented Noonan's in 1986.
Who did?
And is where Glider accidentally killed them upon using her powers for the first time. After falling out with Glider, Kite Man travels back in time to prevent her parents' deaths, while Glider falls soon after. So like this was kind of interesting, just how things ended up turning out, because even though Glider's father is still killed in all this time travel craziness, her mother ends up running away, and in the present day she's trapped in some
you say
cell.
Running away, I say abandoning her children.
yeah
it's an extended mommy's day, that's all.
That is it is more descriptive that she actually had the opportunity to take care of her kids, and she saw that as an opportunity to escape.
Tomato to abandon, whatever. That's all I'm saying.
What did you think of this, Jeff? Because like in sort of like when we get reintroduced to Captain Cold, his life hasn't really changed at all. It's like my parents are still absent from my life.
He thinks they're dead.
Yeah, and like, what did you think of just like the past changing, but this is still saying the same because of this crazy decisions?
Well, so one, I think it's interesting because that they gave Golden Glider the powers that the new 52 Golden Glider has, but they didn't seem to do the same with Captain Cold, which I thought.
Shout out to Claire. She said she's watching. Claire's on there. Claire she's watching on Drunk Banthas on Instagram.
Hell yeah!
Can't see your comments on Instagram. We can't see your comments on YouTube, so I gotta shout you out as I see it on here. But
thanks for watching.
But yeah. Thanks for watching. If you want me to get Marcus to text you, okay. I'll do all that. DM me and I'll send you. I'll get him to talk to you.
so anyway, it was interesting because they gave Golden Glider the powers that she has in New 52 while not doing the same for her brother Captain Cold, which is just the nerd in me getting a little butthurt. But I thought it was interesting the way that they did it with the coming back, and it's seemingly not much has changed. I actually kind of liked it because a lot of times when we deal with the time travel stuff, it's like, all right, we're playing a guessing game. What's changed? What hasn't? And instead, this one, they were just like, all right, yeah, not really. Yeah, her mother's still around, but like they don't know that. And I don't know why. It just made it. It made it more contained. Obviously, from what we get at the end, there's going to be a reveal later, but I kind of liked let's just contain it to one episode for now.
Yeah. It didn't need, so me and Alex have been having these conversations about these 20-minute episode shows and how hard it is for us to do an episode where we talk about these shows because they're so little content to dwell on,
right?
And but that was before we used to talk about that mostly before we had a show where we did it once a week, and we were only talking about where we're talking about multiple shows. We used to do this show where we talked about one show 4 times a week. You know what I'm saying? We do, instead of us doing it on one day, we used to cover all these shows in several days in the span that they came out on.
Right.
So I like how we can talk about it now, though, because it seems like we need more time to talk about these shows for some reason. Like, because to me, that shows that they're doing a good job with the writing.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of story in this episode.
And yeah, because of but also like the shows that we covered, Archer and like Futurama. We have been with those shows so long. It's like these shows are giving us something so new and giving us a lot of like just that extra. You know what I'm saying? Like it I feel like we're captivated enough to where we can keep talking about it and finding things to talk about with it.
Yeah, and you know, speaking of captivation, and
do not make a Chris Evans show.
And wanting to make and wanting to bring people in more. There we do have, like we mentioned, this teaser where Glider's mom is held captive and she's being gassed by someone in a very old boy situation. Bill, do you have any predictions of what DC villain or maybe DC hero might be holding this character captive?
Probably Lex, but I doubt it. I doubt she's being held captive by a hero. You know, I think she's probably locked up on some type of, she's locked up in some type of security facility. Right. I feel like, but like, what powers did she have, and did she have any powers? Like,
nope.
Is she like just some random lady that just did bad shit, or did she kill somebody? You know what I'm saying? Right. Like, is she a part of the guild of calamitous content? Like, I don't know.
Ignore me.
I don't know nothing about this lady. And is Glider made up? Is she a made up character?
She's a real character in the comics.
Okay, well, maybe we got to do some research and find out about her mama.
I did a good amount because I was like, man, I don't remember ever hearing anything about their mom. No, she's no one.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. And Glider, yes, Glider's a real character. She's been around since, so they're Flash villains and they've been around since then. But her brother's Captain Cold. And then in the New 52 storyline, we got some new powers for her because she was in a coma. So that's where the astral projection powers came from.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, she's like one of my favorite characters on the show so far. Like I really, and Stephanie Shu is always incredible. But I am curious who is holding her mom captive. We did have like a strange season in Harley Quinn where Batman goes kind of crazy and he kidnaps a villain. So we could end up having a situation where a hero is kidnapping a villain.
God, I guess someone doesn't care about family reunions.
It's a family.
affair. We did 2 different songs.
I don't know why you would do the song that doesn't have the family reunion.
But guys, do you have any final thoughts on this episode of Kite Man before we move on to our next topic?
We didn't talk about Bane falling in love with old girl like enough to me, because that was weird. Like he just met this bitch, like actually he hadn't met her yet, and he was like, I think I'm in love.
Yeah,
Bane from the Harley Quinn show, Bane tends to fall in love pretty easily, though.
Okay, that's what.
And I think he's a pretty lonely guy and just wants to love someone.
I want to love.
He's a very love greedy guy. That the
he
moment
is
where
in what is low key a sex outfit this time than he is. He's in like a dominatrix.
He straight up bangs a building. He wants love so bad.
That's right.
He has on a dominatrix outfit. This is not the same as what is in the comics or in the movies. He is gone beyond. Yeah,
It's a sleeveless
he's a
Gimp
sleeveless
outfit.
Gimp. He's a sleeveless.
It's pretty close to the comics.
Oh, also Sleeveless Gimp. Good name for a punk band.
Good band name.
Gimp.
Yeah.
It also sounds like a broke dick and circumcised.
Fleetwood Mac Sex Pants. New band name. I called it.
Yeah.
Talking Turd. Kite Man is on HBO Max, or just I think now the Max.
Yes, just Max.
And you
Excuse
can
me, excuse me. I misspoke. Kite Man, hell yeah, is on HBO Max or just the Max.
Yeah, I thought your pronunciation was a little off.
Yeah, you speaking Arabic, I thought, but no, you was just wrong. But
Got that hillbilly Chicago accent.
You can get now the bundle with Hulu, Disney, and Max for like $19 or some shit.
Oh,
You know what that sounds like to me? That sounds like someone should be fucking sponsoring us.
yeah, give us money.
Give us money.
Give us money, you sons of bitches. You're welcome, Talking Turd. But yeah, guys, let us know what you thought of this episode of Kite Man, or if you haven't watched Kite Man.
I will say this.
Well, you were
Episode
fine.
4 is my favorite episode of Kite Man so far. Excuse me. Episode 4 is my favorite episode of Kite Man. Hell yeah, so far.
So far.
It's probably my favorite episode so far too. Yeah. What about you? Do you feel the same way?
It don't matter. None of this matters.
I gotta change the volume.
That's very true.
But you know what does matter? Y'all's opinion. Let us know what you guys thought of Kite Man, or if our conversation has piqued your interest, if you want to actually.
IMDb agrees with me.
Oh yeah, what is the IMDb on this episode here?
8.3 out of 10. The others are all in the 7 range.
Roll Tide.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, this definitely had a little bit more oomph to it. It had a lot more story and some sentiment. But yeah, we'll move on to our
funnier.
Right?
Yeah, that's true. And we'll move on to another DC character. Probably let's just go ahead and say it's the DC character. We're moving on to Batman, the Caped Crusader, the new Amazon Prime TV show that was released last week. Now, this was an interesting drop. We didn't know.
I don't have
New York Times bestseller.
I absolutely was so afraid that if I played the Batman music, we would get some type of copyright. So I am working on some type of alternative for next. Well, we're not doing it again next week. So
just play some Seal.
Yeah, right.
Here's some Kiss from a Rose.
Yeah. Oh, you know, I should have found the clip of Dean Pelton singing "Kiss by a Rose."
Oh no, there's a better one.
Oh god,
there's one out there. I'm sure you can Google and find it. It's like 32 seconds long. It's just a drunk guy singing "Kiss by a Rose" to his cat while rolling on the floor, and the cat is not having any of it. It's amazing. One of my favorite things the internet's ever done.
I have to pull that back out. Like, we got to do something special for Batman Day in a few weeks. So maybe we'll bring that out.
This is my Batman music.
Talking Turds in the chat. I heard about the Cake Crusader cartoon.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't the penguin a chick now?
Yes.
Yeah, there's actually a few things different about this show.
Let's dive in.
Normal lore.
I'll tell you what. I have more of a problem. Penguin being a girl, I don't give a shit about. I actually have more of a problem with them making Penguin tall than making her a woman.
You know what?
Tall.
Huge. She wasn't tall. She was huge.
She's a big bitch.
Yeah, that bitch. That's a huge bitch. Bigger than everybody in the show.
Phil Mage said in the chat, I love this take on Batman, and I am curious because I do want to talk about the characters, but let's talk about the character. Let's get into the man himself of the Bat
testicular cancer. I mean, character.
Yeah, let's talk about Batman. What did you think of this?
Let Jeff go first.
Jeff, what did you think of this character and also the actor depicting?
This is not Hamish Linklater's first time being a Batman.
Oh, really?
Midnight Mass. He was a vamp.
Oh, I never watched that show.
Dude, it's a good one. Check it out.
Hold on. Say his name. Hold on.
Hamish Linklater.
Hamish Linklater.
Linklater. Linklater.
That don't roll off the tongue too good.
Sure doesn't. No.
Yeah, doesn't. Yeah.
I almost called him Harold Lamplighter.
So, I mean, I liked him. He was okay. That's the thing is, so that's a bit tricky because I think he did a fine job of both Bruce and Batman. I like that one of my main issues with Bale's Batman is the ridiculous voice he did. It was just, oh my God. I mean, it was done. And honestly, and one of the best things, in my personal opinion, about Batfleck was they actually showed that he's got like little things on his throat that adjust his voice. I thought it was like, first off, hey, that's smart, and second off, we didn't have to get like the ridiculous overacting voice. Which, no offense to Bale, I'm sure it wasn't like he wasn't like, hey, I want to blow out my voice every scene. I'm sure they were like, well, you have to.
Well,
so
probably had something to do with that mask smashing his nostril.
right. So I liked Hamish's take on it. I thought he did a good balance between the two, which is always tricky. Now, outside of that, there were things I both liked and disliked about this Batman / Bruce Wayne. The entire time, the way he was dealing with Alfred, fucking hated it. I get this is year one, but good fucking God, why is he being such a twat to Alfred? Also, like calling him Pennyworth the entire time. I think it's the last episode he finally calls him Alfred. It's like, this has been your father figure your entire life after yours was murdered in front of you. And you're sitting there like, shut up, Pennyworth. Go get me this, Pennyworth. It's like, no, you wouldn't have done that. I don't like that at all. I fucking hated that part. But then at the same point, I felt like this show did a good job of playing up Bruce leaning into his playboy billionaire persona and showing us like, yeah, that's his mask, but he's also smart enough. Batman's always been smart enough to really ham that part up in public, so people did believe it. And I think this is probably the first time we've seen a really, really not just good but consistent portrayal of that. So, like I said, with Hamish's Batman, there were ups and downs for me.
I feel you. To the point about Alfred and Bruce's interactions with each other, I feel like that's just the natural. That's what every director has tried to do when telling that story in live action or animated. I mean, like with Christian Bale's Batman, since you brought him up, his interaction with Alfred is like, why do you care, Alfred? Remember that scene? It was like, why do you care, Alfred? And he's like, it's not your family. He's like, motherfucker, I used to change your daddy's diaper. What is wrong with you? Like, come on, man. Yeah. So I feel like that was, and they did go over the top of that, right? Like that was this level, then they went up here with it, right?
Agreed.
So there is that, but at the same time, I feel like it paid off. I felt the same way you felt the whole time, like, yo, you got one more time to call my man Pennyworth. You know what I'm saying? You got one more time to be disrespectful like that. But I took it as Thomas Wayne probably called him Pennyworth, right? And his family probably called him Pennyworth. And now him as a kid, he probably would have known him as Alfred, right? Like, because like you said, he's been raised up by Alfred, really. Like, even when he was with his parents was rich, wealthy, busy ass people. So Alfred was the one who really raised him. So I feel like he probably took on that mindset, because the craziest fucking thing that happened in this series is Alfred trying to sleep in the middle of the night and Bruce Wayne coming up mad creepy like children of the corn, fucking coming up while it's storming outside. It's storming outside, and you come sit at the edge of my bed talking about some, I'm gonna get them all. They will all pay. Like, goddamn, if his head starts spinning, I'm getting the hell up out of here.
Yeah, I do want to talk about like the Alfred and Batman relationship, but I do like that moment specifically because it is
The
very
creepy moment, or
the creepy moment, because it is very evocative of it. Kind of reminds me of the moment in Batman Mask of the Phantasm.
Alex,
Yeah.
does Bill not know that you creep into his room and sit on the edge of his bed when he's asleep?
I told you that in confidence, Jeff.
Yeah, and I'm terrible at keeping secrets.
He's the Pam of our group.
But that moment did remind me of like the moment in Batman: The Mask of the Phantasm, where he puts the mask on in front of Alfred for the first time, and Alfred's just horrified. It just kind of like shows that Alfred has always been in this really weird position of wanting to mentor and comfort this tortured child, but also this nigga is crazy and that the shit that he's doing is not. But
you don't think it's just because it was an ugly suit? He was like, "Why didn't you ask me for some help with this?"
I could have. Taylor.
You know, there's one comic where Bruce dies, and it's revealed that none of it was real, and Alfred just paid actors to dress up as like the Riddler and the Joker and shit, and fake lose fights to Batman.
God,
and then he went out against like some street crime, and the guy was just like pop, and he's like dead. But the thing is, I actually hated everything they did with Alfred in this. I don't like. I mean, look at this fucking image of him. He's got a double chin. He's fat. Alfred was in the fucking SAS, man. He was in Britain's Secret Service. He was a badass. One of the reasons I chose this book is actually, so this is the Earth One Batman. And this one, Alfred's a fucking badass who like is training and beating up Bruce and shit. And there's one scene where like Bruce, he doesn't think Bruce is good enough to be Batman. So they literally get in a goddamn fight. They're beating the crap out of each other. And this is where it gets even funnier. At one point, Bruce sweeps out his leg, and Alfred's got a fake fucking leg that Bruce just took off. But that's the thing. Alfred's a badass.
I don't think that's I mean, I personally don't think that he's less of a badass in this show.
He's got a double chin.
I'm not.
So does
shout out
Sergeant
to all
Slaughter,
the double chin brothers out there. I mean, like, you know, NFL football players got double chins. Like, you know,
yeah, and they're not taking on the bat.
Well,
no. I'm saying like Batman does not run up on one of these 6'7", 320-pound dudes who can run a flat 540, because when they get their hands on you, you know, it's an agile motherfucker playing football that's, you know, that's that big.
That's when he uses his bat linebacker spray. Duh.
You better use that bear base when you get up on you.
I personally do appreciate that, like, they changed up the character designs a little bit in this show, where not everybody is just like the
carbon copy of everything we've seen.
Yeah, and also just like the pinnacle of physique, you know, the human physique. Like, not everybody looks like a supermodel. Like, you know, Harley Quinn is and Renee Montoya are a little more heavy set.
No, they just got big dukes. I don't think they was heavy, because when I'm just saying, because when you saw Harley with her suit on, she was, you know, there wasn't no rolls and no, you know, no fat rolls, no, you know, no fupas or nothing like that. I'm just saying, so she just had a big old donkadonk.
Right. Yeah. Not everybody, maybe heavy set isn't the right word, but I'm just saying, like, not everybody looks like Supergirl. Right. But just to go back
like
real quick,
Dove commercial women.
Right.
You know, you know what I'm talking about. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about.
But yeah, just to go back to Alfred and Batman, I think like a lot of people had an issue with the Batman, the most recent movie, for the same reason. And it was one of the things I kind of liked about that movie, in the sense that, like, most of us, we know Batman as being like a master of his own world. Like, he's a master at everything, and he has this good relationship with Alfred. But I feel like it took a while to get there, and I like the fact that the Batman was like this. Before he's emotionally and physically mature to be the Batman that we know, he still has to go through some shit. And it's probably going to be like that little moment with Christian Bale and Alfred on the steps where he says, "What do you give a damn? It's not your family." I think that's just like, it's just 9 episodes.
You're not my dad.
It's just, we live in that for like 9 episodes in this show, rather than just like it be just a scene where we move past.
I mean,
but I do get your
too,
frustration because they're, you know,
it's
not what we're used to. You know?
Shout out to Terry. He's not here right now. He hated Batman. He also was wondering why he was fat. So I'm not, you know, I understand the issues. But it's, to me, I liked how, you know, Alfred, I liked it when I saw Alfred was fat. I was like, damn, they made Alfred fat.
Yeah.
But then I was like this. Yeah. They made Alfred fat. Because even though he was like, you know, MI5 or whatever, the dude was out there 30 years working for the Waynes. It's like, bruh, he had to be eating them ding dongs and them hoe cakes,
right? He's Carl Winslow, you know. He's got the Carl Winslow. He's like, I used to be the shit out here, but you know, now I'm, you know,
I gotta get these Twinkies and these powdered donuts.
They're for my wife. She's pregnant.
She's pregnant. That's why I'm getting 3 of them.
I do want to go into the comments a little bit real quick. Talking Turd said, is this set in a different universe or is it set in a retelling of the origins?
It's set in the same time frame or the same melancholy time period as the animated series.
No. It's actually set earlier because there's not even a bat computer in this one.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, the technology is crazy mixed because, like, he got a bug, but he can tap somebody's like lapel.
It's like Archer, but earlier.
Right, but that's what I'm saying. Like, it's all over the place. Like, but in the animated series, it was the same, right? Like they had blimps, but then instead of, like, you know, private jets and shit, like it had a blimp,
helicopter.
They had helicopters, but helicopters weren't made until Vietnam War, like right before the Vietnam War. Also created by a black man.
Tell that to Leonardo da Vinci. What up?
Yeah, shout out to Leo, also a black man. No, I'm joking. But I found out the other day that a dude who made the helicopter was a black dude. I didn't know that.
Shit. That's really cool.
Yeah, it was really cool.
That's awesome.
Black fact.
Does he have a comic book about him?
He should.
I'll read it.
He should. He should. If he had a comic, you know what? If he doesn't have one, we should write one, or someone should, and give us the money for it.
Give us money. Film H said in the chat, plus Bruce is spoiled rich boy who never grew up, so his treatment of Alfred was on point. Yeah, talking about how the way he was talking to
if they're gonna
Alfred.
explore that, that's like a good point as well. But like, I just felt like it was a growth of a man who has, since a little boy, set his sights on a mindset and a goal that's not only unattainable or forever, never ending, but it's like he also needs this other person to walk this path with him, and to a certain degree, he's like a general. You know, Batman sees himself as a general in a war,
right?
And he's like, yo, Alfred, you're my subordinate. So he's calling him Pennyworth. It's more of a like mindset, a military mindset in how I looked at it a lot, because we've heard Batman say it in many of the Bat family comics, you know, we're still fighting this war. He makes it seem like different than just like, let's go stop these villains type shit.
I will say, I think it was one of the later episodes, but Alfred put himself in danger, and Batman was even like, "What are you doing? You can't put yourself in danger." And I was like, "All right, that's the one time I was like, finally, fucking acting like you should."
Right.
I
agree with you.
Yeah, I thought it was a really great moment. I thought that there are a good number of good moments between the two of them. Like, one of my favorite moments is when Harvey Dent is like really going bad. He's like Breaking Bad basically, and Alfred's just like sort of saying, like, implying that it might be his, like, Batman's fault because he sort of pushed him to that point.
He didn't imply. He told him, man, and who went and saw him? Last
like
night?
this was like how many hours after you hung out with him?
Yeah, like,
I told you should have shunned him.
But one of my favorite moments in that,
told you to go back there and read him a goddamn Dr. Seuss book. You wanted to go take him out and get some bitches.
but one of my favorite moments in that episode was when like Alfred is sort of implying that it was Bruce's fault, and he says, "You're wasting my time with all this shit," and he kind of hangs up on him, and we get that wide shot of Alfred in the Batcave, and he just like slowly hangs up the walkie-talkie, and it's just like you can feel how sad he is for Bruce and how much he loves him. He's like, I wish you could just be a little bit better. This is definitely not how you should be handling your trauma, but you could just like maybe adjust the track a little bit, and I would be a little bit more proud of the path that you're going down.
I think you did a great job with his trauma.
Yeah, I don't need to work nothing out. I'm working it out on these niggas' assholes every fucking day. Oh, wait, that was kind of gross. Wait, wow, that was wild.
Are we not doing phrasing anymore?
We definitely should be bringing phrasing back.
Talking Terry also said, wasn't there a comic where Alfred had to wear the costume to protect Bruce Wayne's identity?
Multiple comics and multiple cartoon shows.
Yeah.
I was about to say, I feel like I saw that in a cartoon.
Yeah, both the old Kevin Conroy Batman and the Batman cartoon. Alfred had to do that.
Yeah, Talking Terry also said Gotham was also discombobulated time-wise, was oldie, worldly with futuristic stuff. Yeah, definitely had a retro futuristic vibe.
They talked about it in the Batman animated series documentary with Bruce Timm and all the other writers and artists from or animators from the animated series, the original animated series. They talked about how they purposefully made it this like autonomous style of like what time period are we on, like, yeah, but they wanted to add this Gordon Gekko mixed with this 20s like all the vehicles are from the 20s mixed with like, okay, we got helicopters, so it's like the 80s, we got computers, so it's like the 80s, like Batman. Let's a lot of people get credit for the internet, Al Gore, but
the guy that was in charge of continuity not doing a good job.
Batman was the first guy with the internet. Like, let's just go ahead. He is the inspiration for the internet. Am I wrong? Batman?
According to Tron Legacy.
Ooh, are you saying Tron is the originator of the internet? I mean, or the inspiration? Because I'm saying Batman, because he was the first one able to look at everything in every spot in his city.
Yeah, and then look at before the military did.
Yeah, he was Googling shit back in the day. Like he was
he was Google back in the day.
Right, yeah, right. Like he was web crawler.
Do you know how many nerds he had chained up in the basement of the Batcave?
Bruce has got little Chinese kids data crunching. He's like, man. He's like, look, I know that I'm a billionaire and I'm a terrible person, but they will all pay.
It's that scene in social media, but they're just in the bottom of a cave and don't even realize it.
I'm curious because, like, you touched on a little bit. Sorry.
Oh no, dude, go ahead, man. Go ahead.
I want to talk about like the vibe of the show because it does seem very like reminiscent of Batman the Animated Series, where it has the same style, like aesthetic, similar aesthetic, but also that noir vibe. Like there's a lot of times where I was watching episodes
black.
Yeah,
like
that's what that means.
There were a lot of moments where I was watching a scene where I was like, oh man, this feels like a scene in Chinatown or something.
Who's your favorite superhero? Is it Black from The Boys? Mine too.
Black. But yeah, like what did you guys like? Did you think that this was like obviously intentionally inspired by Batman the Animated Series, but did you feel like the vibe was good? Did you feel like maybe you wanted something a little different, a little fresher? Jeff, I'll let you go first.
I liked it. Especially going for like a year one Batman. I feel like going with that noir, that 20s atmosphere really helps itself with that. There's a Batman year zero comic that it's a fantastic comic, but it's just so different because it's still set in modern times, just like, all right, modern times, 3 years ago, you know, and it was a great comic and all, but just I think a part of it might also be because the noir of the Kevin Conroy animated Batman is what I grew up on as well. I mean, shit, not just that. Look at the first 2 Batman movies, the Tim Burton ones. Those were also set in a very noir, you know, old school atmosphere. And yeah, so I liked it, but I would be very curious to know if the reason I like it is because that is what I was raised to believe this is year 1 Batman stuff.
Like,
you know?
I like it because I've been brainwashed to love it. And I can't help it. I loves Batman's.
Yeah,
Batman's loves me.
It does feel like in a world like this, it does benefit itself to have this evergreen universe where it doesn't date itself, where it feels like, oh, this feels like 94, this feels like the early 2000s. This just feels like this Elseworld time period.
Unlike the Adam West one, like Talking Turd's mentioned in here. Talking Turd says, I grew up with
that was my first. That's my first Batman too.
Hold up, because I got a joke. So you said you fucking it up by saying it was your first Batman, because I'm like, you grew up with Adam West? Like, goddamn.
I grew up with Adam West.
I went to elementary school with Adam West. Like, that's just hilarious. I know that's not what you as a child. I know that's not what he meant. But when he was a child, did he sing Adam West? Adam West? No, but before the animated series came out, technically me and Alex grew up with Adam West because, and also Jeff, shit, what am I talking about? Because we did not have the animated series, and the only thing we had to go off of was because in 89 we get the Batman or Batman, I should say.
Yeah, Batman.
And I think the other came out in 76.
The animated series came out in 92. Batman with Tim Burton, you mean? I believe that was 80.
That's 89, but the one with Adam West. That's what I was saying. Like, when did that one come out?
That came out in the 70s, and I mean, just it's a common callback in that 70s show.
Right. So I'm saying 76, I'm guessing. Because it feels like they start that show in 74, because then all of a sudden, like 2 seasons later, you're watching Star Wars. It's ridiculous. But it's like they have no actual timeline on that show. But anyway, my point is that there was a long span of time with no Batman other than Adam West, really, as far as television goes. Mm-hmm. So we also grew up with Adam West. Talking Turd says there was lots of hype for Batman 80.
Wow. Yeah. That series was 1966 to 1968.
Jesus Christ.
Very short-lived. And they managed,
but the 60
120 episodes.
66.
Yeah.
Remember, it started in black and white and ended in color.
But see, the thing is, I think that by the time they started really heavy syndicating them in like the early 90s, I think they had made the black and white ones color too. I think that now if you tried to find a black and white one, I think it might be a little harder than it was when we were growing up, because that's when they started adding color to stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like in 97, 99, they started really remastering a lot of old things and putting color in them. Like The Wizard of Oz, right, is famously remastered during the 90s. It was a big thing back then. Like, just good. They
also made movies.
Say what? Say it again.
They also came out with some movies afterwards. You know.
That's true.
Yeah, and
reunions.
And famously the the Adam West Batman movie, I think, came out the year after the first season. So it's like that got a lot of popularity pretty fast.
Yeah.
And just to go, well, actually, I want to say one comment earlier. The fifth Bantha says, I love Batman. This was nostalgic happiness. But I also want to bring up this comment from Film Age Studios. How about Harley Quinn, though? Which does lead me into one of my next.
That's what I was saying earlier. Film Age, she had that badonka-donk.
I do want to talk about some of the characters in the show, because I'm sure that there was some controversy surrounding some of the changes from the source material, specifically talking about Penguin and Harley Quinn, because Harley Quinn is an Asian a person in this movie.
Is she
and she's voiced by Jamie Chung. Yes, she is meant to be Asian in this show.
Yeah.
See, I ain't want to be racist because a lot of people's eyes are slanted in this show, so I ain't want to be like, oh, her eyes are slanted, she's Asian,
right? Then we also have the Penguin, who is a female. Did you guys bump up against these choices to make these changes with these characters? Do you think it has any bearing on their character? Because I personally feel like, if you change someone's gender or race, as long as it doesn't effectively change who the character is, it's not that big a deal. If you change Matt Murdock to a black person, well, he's supposed to be Irish Catholic, so that's very dumb. Weird.
or change Wilson Fisk into a black person. To me, that doesn't make any sense either. But first of all, we all know ain't no nigga fixing to be running New York City on the crime level without getting arrested. And he's not getting out of jail. That's just not happening. We know that.
But what did you guys think about these changes, Jeff?
So I liked it for both of them. We called out how Harley is voiced by Jamie Chung, but Oswalda is voiced by Minnie Driver as well.
Right.
So
Minnie Driver working on this,
right?
Yeah, big man.
So, but honestly, all around, we had some really, really amazing voice actors and actresses on this show. Now, like I said earlier with Penguin, I honestly had more of an issue with her size than her gender in it. I actually thought that making her a woman actually added to her ruthlessness, considering she kills one of her fucking sons and then tries to kill the other. I thought those two things were a really good. I thought that was a really cool way of making her immediately a much stronger and more villainous character. And then with Harley, a couple of things I loved about her. First off, I thought it was interesting that they brought her in before the Joker. I loved that they made that when we first are introduced to her, they really put an emphasis on the fact that she is a doctor. She's a smart, educated person. And then they even took it where, when Bruce steals his file, she knows. She had that, little note in there because she knew what was happening. And then when they ended up giving her that episode where we find out that she's Harley Quinn, I thought that was great too. Again, it was her intelligence that she was using as her weapon. It was her psychological training that allowed her to brainwash all these people. And one thing that I thought was really cool, because as we know, I like the IMDb trivia. It was noted on there that in the original version of Harley Quinn, which is from the animated series, Harleen Quinzel was more serious and nonsensical, and no nonsense. But when she becomes Harley Quinn, she takes on that, that goofy, weird personality. They made an active choice to do it the opposite way in this one and have Harleen Quinzel be a bit more silly and carefree. Yeah. But then when we see her as Harley Quinn, she's much more serious. And that actually ended up making her a much better and more scarier villain.
Yeah, it definitely made her very sinister. What did you think of Harley Quinn in this one?
This is what they should have got Margot Robbie to do. This is what they should have did. I always thought it was dumb for Margot Robbie to try to play the cartoon version, basically, try to do her version of the cartoon version of Harley Quinn, because you can't recreate something that's already, iconic. You're always just trying to live up to that.
Right.
Like Heath Ledger didn't try to be Jack Nicholson's Joker. He tried to be his Joker and created something that we never seen before, and then that we were all concerned about, and we all thought he might fuck it up. But he, because we were like the Brokeback Mountain nigga. Oh no, a Knight's Tale.
Right, yeah, there's a lot of people I don't want no Brokeback Batman.
I don't want all that. But boom, he blew your whole top off. No freaky. You know what I'm saying? He hit you with that. No freaky. So I think that they should have did this with Margot Robbie's character, because like Jeff was saying, it's a juxtaposition between herself like not only herself in her two selves in this series, but her two selves in between both series. You know, the first animated series and this one now. Othelia says Montoya making it really tough.
Oh, my bad.
Yeah, I can't see it anymore. Montoya making it really tough to remain true to ACAB, making police thick as hell is the new propaganda. Let me tell you something. That's how they want you to. They trying to get you to jump off the George Floyd bandwagon and jump onto the booty bandwagon, but don't fall for it.
Don't fall for the okie doke. Yeah,
I liked Montoya a lot in this too. I gotta agree there.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I loved
Let's
her
just jump
character.
onto that character.
I loved her character a lot. One thing I did think was weird that her character design and Harley's character design were very similar.
You don't
like
the
not
butt?
just
Why they wanted to bone.
You don't like the butts?
well,
Is
just
that what
because
you're saying?
like their jackets were the same color.
Oh, trench coats. It's trench coats.
But they were both beige. Like, or no, they were both like crimson. Like they couldn't have like someone else could be have.
I
like
think they were both beige. I think you're right.
No, like they're both like the same, like
That's
reddish.
not crimson, but I get you.
Whatever. Yeah, you know what I'm saying. It's not beige. But yeah, like they both had the same exact color. That was the only thing.
Which, real quick, just because we're giving them, we're calling them all out. I'm not familiar with this actress, but Michelle C. Bonilla played or voiced Renee Montoya.
Yeah,
okay.
shout
Great.
out to Michelle Mishi.
And she did a great job. Like, and I really liked her character as well. Like how she's just like one of those one of the very few good cops. Her and Jim Gordon.
It broke my heart that they did that to Bullock. I liked how in the original series you think that he's, you know, kind of crooked, but then anytime he's given the opportunity, he's like, "Fuck you!" I took an oath, and it was like, all right, that was kind of cool, but it made Montoya better because she's the only honest one outside of Gordon, you know.
Yeah.
Yep. That's why I hated it. I hate women. Sorry, I'm joking.
Oh, calm down, Alex.
Yeah, exactly. That was my Alex impersonation. Yeah, Montoya was dope. But let's just go ahead and the elephant in the room, man. What did we think about Barbie Gordon?
Barbie Gordon. I really liked the fact that they had her being a lawyer and being a public defender, but
Yeah, I thought that worked.
And you know, we've had plenty of iterations of talking about like changes in the source material. We've had Black Commissioner Gordon and
Tall penguins
in the movies. We've had black
fucking tall penguin bullshit.
Rosario Dawson played Batgirl in one of the Batman movies. So it's like this is not in the Lego Batman movies. She's
man.
I mean, she's still black. and we got Black Jim Gordon in the Batman, so it's like
that's why I wasn't mad about that. I was like, oh, Jim Gordon is black now, retcon wise. So if we gonna see Barbara Gordon for the first time since all the retcons, then I'm like, all right, I'm fucking with that.
What did you think of that, Jeff?
Shout out Crystal Joy Brown, our new Barbara. I thought it was great. I thought it was actually a really good. I thought that everything about this Babs was really fun. I thought making her that public defender, like you said, was a really smart choice, and it led to some good back and forth. One, she's obviously just like, hey, we got some good justice boners coming from her. And then at the same time, we got that episode where Onomatopoeia, which by the way, great villain name, is coming after her. Her and her dad being able to have that back and forth argument, I thought was really good. Mm-hmm. They also gave her a lot more agency as Barbara than I feel like they've done in the past. She's really her own person. She's got her own storylines. She definitely passes. I forget what the name of that the Bechdel test, I think it is.
Yeah,
she definitely passes that.
Yes.
One of my favorite parts was that onomatopoeia episode. It also showed how the commish trusts her and sees her more of a person than in anything we've seen before. In the past, cartoons, TV shows, even the most of the comics, when they're trapped in that house, he'd be like, "Barbara, go hide."
Yeah, he's
not in this one.
Yeah.
Yeah, but in this one, he's like, hey, you got your gun? Good. You're guarding the back door.
Right.
I was really having a lot of fun with how much of a person they made her without having to be like, oh, also she's Batgirl.
Yeah, I was really glad that they did it the way that they did it, with Jim being very aware of who his daughter is and not like trying to like over parent or overprotect or treat her like less than. But I do think that comes with making her African American. You can't make an African American woman in America, the daughter of a police officer, be all scary and like, and then take, like, if he told her that, like, go hide, she'd be like, fuck that, I'm not. That's what we're gonna have to do now, and then you can't have that,
right,
as far as this character and what we're trying to do with this show. So I think that they did a great job, like y'all say, you know, making it to where she's a matter of fact, and their relationship is a matter of fact. Like, no, we don't have to have all these conversations about my feelings. Neither one of them having a bunch. Like, it's all like, hey, you know, your boy the Bat, I met him today. Crazy, you know, like, got a nice car. Like, they have a very loose relationship. In a relationship where there is no mother, instead of there being a black relationship where there is no father. I think that was really interesting, because they could have easily just made Jim Gordon Jane Gordon, right?
Yeah, they could have made that change. And like, yeah, to y'all's point, I do really like their relationship as well. And to what you mentioned earlier with the Bechdel test, the show does pass the Bechdel test, but it also passes a test that was created by the Drunk Banthas channel, called the Color People test.
That's right.
Which is when two people of color have a conversation with each other, and it has nothing to do with like the oppression of being a minority in America.
That's right.
It's just like they're having normal ass conversations.
That's right.
Isn't the Bechdel test named after the person who came up with it? So wouldn't this be the Bantha test?
I'm not that
we call it
vain.
The
Bechdel is a vain.
All right, cool. Dibs. It's the natal test. What up? Yep. That guy just taking another one from you.
The Madel test sounds dope, though. I ain't gonna lie.
The Madel test does.
It really doesn't when you know the German behind it.
That's neither here nor there.
I'm sure there's some Bechdels that own some slaves.
People
like,
still
let's be honest.
No.
Bechdel,
Madel is German for little girl or feminine. My name is technically Jeffrey Little Girl.
You know what though? Lady. That's a dope rap name.
Jeffrey Little Girl.
I'm not gonna hold you. Jeffrey Little Girl or Jeff Little Girl. Damn, son. I'm going to buy that album next week. I'm gonna let it come out first and then see how everybody react.
We talked about this a little bit, but I'm curious.
What's going on in the comments?
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on in the chat.
We got some good conversation going there.
We do.
By the way, a lot of it is how Athelius has fallen in love with these girls on this show. Which dips.
Ophelia says in the chat, I thought Alex was trying to say they were both light skinned. We said they were both beige before I realized he was talking about the coats. That is a fair assumption.
Hey man, he don't like women, so you gotta be careful. Yeah, you gotta pay attention.
Fifth Bantha said in the chat, I don't know why, but I feel worse for the Barbara Gordon when the Joker incident happens. Wait, was there?
Pow.
Oh yeah. Wait. Yeah. I'm sure that will definitely happen eventually.
I don't know. I think they anti-canoned that back in the day. I think they uncannoned it.
Yeah, I think the New 52 got rid of that. But
I know the New 52 did, but I think something else did too. I think even before that, they were like, "No, that didn't happen."
Yeah, we're taking all the vape out. All the vape that's in comic, we're taking it out.
Honestly, this is a hot take. I do not really like that comic book. But
that's not a hot take.
Okay.
A lot of people fucking hate it.
Okay.
It's the vape. It's all it is.
Well, yeah, that's the whole of the podcast. But there's another Talking Turd said in the chat, DC do a better job with cartoons than they do with live action. Yeah,
That's a fact.
That's been a common thread with DC.
I haven't
Ophelia
watched it, but
said
I hear their Jack Twin Superman's fucking awesome.
Yeah, I want to watch
they're
that.
what Superman?
Huey voices Superman in the cartoon now.
Yeah, Baby Quaid.
Oh, yeah. You know, I ain't watched that one yet.
They
But
got us. Sorry, right.
No, I was gonna say we watched recently the part 1 and part 2 of
Final Crisis?
Final
Crisis on Infinite?
Infinite.
I saw part 1. Is part 2 worth watching?
Man, let me tell you something. We'll talk about that off pod. Right now. I can't have a conversation. That's a whole nother podcast. That's why I can't.
I'll just say I like Jensen Ackles as Batman.
Same. Like I love almost every single DC animated movie or show. Like, just so for anybody who is in the comments talking turd, like just so you know, that's what I fuck with as well. What's this one above that one? The long one?
Oh, sorry. Athelia says in the chat, I love the dynamic of her younger black millennial who realizes that the system doesn't work versus her dad, older black Gen X boomer that believes you can change it from the inside. Yeah, that was one of the better episodes when you had that conversation between the two of them battling that out.
That was one of the best episodes.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, that was a 2 things can be true episode.
Talking about other great DC animated, I haven't watched it yet, but the Green Lantern Beware My Power movie is supposed to be fucking awesome. Wow. I thought it was just another random story. No, it is. So first off, it's Jon Stewart, which already better. He is an amazing Green Lantern.
The best Green Lantern
favorite. I just like Kyle more since he's an artist. He can make better constructs. But anyway, so it's that. It's also he's begrudgingly taking on the power, and then there's a good twist at the end with everything. It's supposed to be amazing. I'm trying to find it. They took it off of fucking HBO.
Damn, like why did you do that?
Sorry.
Max. Yeah, and like the DC animated, they've always been doing so much better. Like I've been waiting for them to have Bruce Timm and Paul Dini be the Kevin Feige of the DC film universe, but they chose James Gunn, and maybe he's going to do a good job. But I'm curious like what you guys thought was the MVP of this season. Like obviously Batman is like the main character, but do you feel like he was your favorite character in this season? Were there any other characters that you really enjoyed more? Jeff, I'll let you go first.
Probably Barbara Gordon, to be honest with you. I thought she had the most growth as a character. I felt she moved the plot along a lot and really well. I thought she was a fucking badass. I mean, she doesn't even have a utility belt, and she's running into buildings, blowing up, and running around trying to save Harvey and all that stuff. Yeah. I'm going to go with Barbara Gordon.
Yeah, they kind of made her like a Rachel Dawes kind of character, but like also if she just Rachel. Like Rachel Dawes, if she actually did more shit. Yeah, shout out to Rachel V. Yeah, like it's kind of in that vein. So yeah, I think I really liked her in this season as well. What about you? Did you have an MVP for
this is a Green Lantern update.
Okay.
Green Lantern Beware My Power is not available on anything except Prime Video, and you would have to rent or buy it.
Damn, did it just come out or something?
So no, it was streaming on Max for the longest time. But again, I was kind of Green Lantern out because that's the comic that I just go way too much into. So I was like, I'm not really feeling it. But also, I will say this: I am also planning on trying to find and buy the Blu-ray, and then I'm gonna rip it onto my computer. I'm gonna put it on my Plex server, and then I can just share that with you guys.
Killing it!
Oh yeah. That sounds like a good time. We should all watch it together on StreamYard.
The thing is, I have way too many movies, and they take up a lot of space. So I'm just gonna rip them all and put them on Plex. You're allowed to do that. That's why Plex is Plex.
Really?
Absolutely.
Yeah, damn.
You're allowed to build your own library and share it with as many people as you want.
Oh, okay. Sorry. What was before we get into the
we were still talking MVPs. I don't think we got Bills yet.
Yeah, what was your MVP, Bill?
I wasn't gonna go here with it, but my MVP is gonna have to be Mr. Harvey Dent.
I did not like this Two-Face.
I'm gonna tell you. Well, I said Harvey Dent. I didn't say
Okay.
See, they didn't get to him being Two-Face yet. I feel like he's still Harvey, and he's honestly was trying to be Harvey. He never really was trying to be Two-Face. He was running from that mindset, even though he damn sure killed some folks. Read that one first.
Oh yeah, sorry. Athelia said in the chat, Barbara, she's relatable. She got hands. She fine as hell, and yeah, it's her for me.
Basically said the same thing.
Barbara is the MVP. The Joker tease was pretty cool. Oh,
Joker tease was pretty cool. I could have just dealt without it. It was like, yo, just don't do that. If
people like a Joker tease,
people do. Y'all don't get tired of that at all.
Batman.
I actually did not like the Joker tease because I was just like, you know what? We don't need him. And again, I thought that how they brought Harley in without the Joker made her a better character. And I liked that introduction.
Brought her a lot more depth. Definitely made you care about her. Actually made you care about her because the way that they brought her in is that she's Bruce Wayne's therapist. By way of court order. Right, so we've never seen Bruce get into anything or deal with anything. I like how much Bruce Wayne we got. You know what? I'm changing my MVP. My MVP is Bruce Wayne because this might be the best Bruce Wayne that we've ever gotten. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The Bruce Wayne, the animated series, the first series, that was the best Bruce Wayne to me. And to me, then after that, it was Christian Bale. And then this one right here. Now, in no certain order, right? No in particular order. I put them guys
outside of the order you just put them in. Gotcha.
Right now, yeah. No, you make that order and assume that those are the order that I'm putting them in, but I'm just saying them in the order that I'm remembering their faces.
I also really enjoyed the Batman cartoon. I enjoyed that Bruce Wayne a lot too.
Man,
that was a fun one.
I especially liked his design that he made him more kind of boxer-ish.
The Bruce Wayne was definitely he stronger chin, stronger face,
and they give him a boxer's nose.
I love the design of the Bruce Wayne and the Batman in that movie. I thought the design was one of the strongest things about that movie.
I'm sorry, no. I was talking the cartoon.
Yeah, the cartoon. Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Okay. Batman because now we have the Batman movie, so now I have to be even more specific with everything.
Yeah, right. There's too many Batmans.
Shut your goddamn mouth.
I will say the Batman, Robert Pattinson is my favorite Batman. Watch my video. I'm not going to talk about it anymore.
Are we talking about live action?
But just period.
I gotta share with you do you know who the comedian Pete Holmes is?
Yeah.
Did you ever see the Batman things that he did?
Yeah, I've seen his Batman videos.
Did you see the most recent one where it's him versus the Robert Pattinson, the Batman?
No.
It's hilarious.
I need to watch that.
I'll send it after.
I've watched 5 of those videos until I realized it was Pete Holmes.
Yeah, right.
I didn't know it was Pete Holmes till right now.
But my MVP is gonna have to go to the titular character Batman. I was surprised by how much I liked this actor as Batman. I liked his difference between Bruce Wayne and Batman voice, and also that in between spot that Kevin Conroy was also really, really good at when he was Bruce Wayne, but he would slip into Batman a little bit, but it wasn't quite as much as it was when he was in the costume. That moment where he just gets sort of frustrated with Harvey Dent. He's like, well, now you want to be fucking moral? What the fuck? He almost said motherfucker in that moment.
Like, bitch, I thought but just because for your own good. He was big mad.
I really like that moment, and just his performance on this show. I feel like he has a nice range, especially knowing how he is as a screen actor. I feel like he's doing a lot of work with his voice to pull this off. So
I wish Terry
He said one of the biggest issues he had was trying not to just do Kevin Conroy. Because that was the Batman he grew up on too.
I'm not gonna lie. He was very close. He should have just did that.
He said he realized he was slipping into it, and he was like, "I'll put some Conroy in mine."
He should have just did it. Go ahead.
He did. Like, I noticed every time he gets punched, he does the Conroy.
Oh yeah, he does. He does the Conroy. Unless they use the Conroy voice for those.
That would have been even funnier.
They could have easily just used his.
I like to believe, since you said that's when he fully
put that. That's the part he was trying to. Yeah, he was like, I'm gonna put some of it in there since I'm going in that. No, I wanted you to read that. That's why I put it up there.
I like the Harvey Dent a lot. He lives up to the name before he became Two-Face. And then he also says, only thing I'm not feeling about this show is Catwoman. I feel like they punked her. She got caught way too easy, in my opinion.
The only thing I'll say about that is, remember, it is year one.
Yeah, and like I feel like there's a lot more adventures to come with her. And I like that they gave her the 40s cape costume.
I was about to say they didn't give her no toys, and that's what I like the fact that she mentioned that, like, oh, you have toys, and also she was like, we're gonna have to upgrade the car.
Oh my god! By the way, how about that? Was that a Bat Cat knockout spray fog?
Right? What the fuck was that?
That was so funny.
No, you know what thing though? I did like though, like that car that they gave her was a toy back in the day.
I think that was Batman or Catman's car, actually.
Oh, really?
And there is a Catman villain in the Batman universe.
Yes, but that was a McDonald's toy.
Oh, that's dope.
For sure. It was a Happy Meal toy. Now, I'm not saying that Catman doesn't have a vehicle similar or the exact same, but let's look it up, Alex.
Catman looks ridiculous, but it's actually fucking badass.
Is it?
He like murders. I think he actually has 9 lives. And
it was Batman Returns, because it's like the McDonald's one.
Oh, here we go. This is what I was thinking of earlier. See, it's not the exact same, but it is. You see what I'm saying when you see it here.
Dude, that's dope. Dude, that's almost exactly the same.
Yeah, it's not exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like, it's not the exact same, but
it's a Wacky Racers version.
Shout out to the animators. Shout out to the people who worked on this show, because y'all really did bring up some nostalgia without actually making it feel like fanfare, fan service type
Agreed.
shit.
By the way, that quote that Hamish was saying, and I think even though when I was making my audition tape, I certainly wasn't trying to copy him, but those vibrations were there. That sound was in my head, and that was, I think, probably what I was pursuing.
Yeah.
So yeah.
It's kind of hard to not have the greatest Batman creep into your brain when you're doing the voice acting. Fifth and Bantha said that this is a good Bruce Wayne. Like, I thought he was definitely a very solid Bruce Wayne for sure. I mean, yeah, he's my MVP. And I'm curious how you guys
shout out to the chat. The chat is going hard.
The chat is blowing up. Like,
just that.
Talking Turd actually asked, "Wasn't Val Kilmer Batman once?" Now I'm old.
No. Trust me, Talking Turd is older than you, so he's also just British. So just there's certain things that he don't remember that he's that.
Talking Turds, it was Batman Forever.
Yeah, he's forgotten more movies. I think somebody helped him out with that.
And his villain was Tommy Lee Jones, Two-Face, and Jim Carrey, Riddler. And Jones fucking hated Carrey.
Oh my gosh, that's all. That's a Future Does Hold Up episode for sure.
Yes, I am an old British turd. He's less of a turd.
Old American douche.
He's more British than turd, but you heard him.
Guys, like, honestly, like, I'm probably the biggest Batman fan that you'll ever meet. So I could talk about Batman forever and ever, but
I won't allow it.
2 more things.
Go ahead.
What was it? The Carnival episode. We got 4 different Robins there.
Yes. I'm actually glad that you mentioned that part because basically the scuttlebutt is going to be for the next year and a half till we get the next season is which Robin is going to be Robin. Or all
we
of
got
them.
Jason Todd, Dick Grayson, Stephanie Brown, and Casey whoever.
Yeah, everybody's ever been
the Dark Knight.
Cassie. Cassie Dark Knight.
Yeah, Cassie Dark Knight. Frank Miller, the Frank Miller Robin.
Right.
And what was your second thing?
You guys know the ginger cop who tried to shoot, who was getting ready to kill Barbara? Jim Corrigan. Are you familiar with who he is?
No.
Name sounds really familiar.
He becomes the Spectre.
Oh shit! Oh really?
And see, he didn't die either. So he's
yet.
Gonna come back as Spectre. That's dope.
Well, to become the Spectre, you actually have to die.
Yeah.
Roll Tide.
And so Jim Corrigan in the DC Comics is a crooked cop who is killed, and then he is brought back because he's got some morals. So he is the Spectre, God's spirit of vengeance, not justice, vengeance.
Yeah.
Who was also Hal Jordan for a while.
Hal Jordan.
Hal Jordan, another great. He's probably my second favorite Green Lantern. But
Tool.
I'm curious. I was gonna
as long as it's not Guy Gardner, we're all good.
No, he's my number one. But I am curious, what was y'all's favorite episode? We've talked a lot about it, so I just want to say real quick that the Natalia episode is my favorite. Athelia says, didn't they show Dick Grayson in that Natalia episode? That is my personal favorite.
He was the first boy that got kidnapped, and they kept calling him Dickie.
Yeah, we got Dickie, Jace.
They never used last
time,
name, so they could have easily made this just throwaway episode. But yes,
and I really appreciate that they threw Stephanie in there because I was reading the comic book run where Stephanie became Robin, and I was so fucking excited, and they just killed her off immediately, and I was so mad.
She's not dead. None of those kids died.
Well, no, I'm talking about the comics.
Fuck that bitch.
Yeah, when she became Robin in the comics, I was so mad the way that they treated her character in the comics. But I like this homage. I don't feel like any of these characters are going to end up being Robin. I think this is just a nice a wink and a nod to those characters. But I liked this story and just the emotionality of it, and the ending. I actually I straight up cried at the end of this episode when he picks up the girl and wraps her up in the sun, and Carrie is contemplating why you would.
You're a tool.
Why you would try to save this person in this situation, and then it reminded me of this other episode where in Justice League where Batman has a
the Ace episode.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, the Ace episode where he has this really touching moment with this child. It just shows how much Bruce is just still very much a tortured child in a grown man's body, and how he has this empathy for kids, especially kids who are fucked up and dealing with their own trauma. So I really love this moment where he's just ultimately a protector, which is where Batman is at his best, and 2, where he just is always on the side of children. So all that in that moment really gave me the feels.
I'm gonna find the comic and recommend that you read it. There's one where so DC, like a lot of comics, there has to be a fight scene, because it's a comic book. Well, there was one, I forget who the writer was, but it's an amazing one where they get the fight out literally the first 2 pages, and it's oh, we won, because the entire point of the book is a bunch of Make-A-Wish kids get to go to the Justice League Watchtower, and they get to spend time with the Justice League, and they have a scavenger hunt up there, and only one kid wins, because the hardest thing to get on the scavenger hunt is to get Batman to smile. And we just see one kid whisper a joke into Batman's ear, and then it's just the kid backs up, and there's just a panel of Batman's and there's just one panel of Batman going, huh. And that's it.
That's great.
Right?
Amazing.
Now I want that's great writing, because it just makes you wonder what the joke is.
Exactly right.
But yeah, like, do you guys have a favorite episode? Bill, do you have a favorite episode of this?
The Clayface episode, we didn't talk about it, but
I
Clayface,
love what they did with Clayface.
because Clayface was an actor. Oh, sorry, all kinds of buttons are happening.
Going sound effects crazy.
I'm gonna just do it right now.
Oh god.
Oh shit! But you want?
Just pressing things.
Just all of them at once.
We just lost so many viewers.
Oh yeah, but no, man, the Clayface episode was the dopest to me because Clayface's whole story was changed, and at the same time, he was still an actor. We could have did anything with him. He still stayed an actor, and we kept within that storyline, and it actually cohesively made more sense than the original version.
Yeah.
So my question to y'all is, before we move on, and I do want to move on, but my question to y'all is, does it? No, my question to y'all is, does it? No, I'm joking. No, but my question to y'all is, out of the people who died, the villains that died, do y'all think we're gonna get those back? Like, it's a comic book, it's Batman, people die all the time. Do you think we'll get any of them back?
I do.
It's hard to say because on the one hand they do a good job of like leaking. Yeah, totally. They do a great job of
he called the shit doo-doo.
They do a great job of filtering in these fantastical moments, like, you know, we get the ghost episode, which is great, written by Mark Bernard, one of my favorite.
Mark Bernard wrote that?
Yeah.
Shout out to Mark Bernard, looking at us all weird that one time.
Yeah, we had very weird eye contact with Mark Bernard.
Definitely looked at us so weird. Shout out to you, Mark.
He's like, hey, there's black people here.
There's never any black people in this. What is going on?
Like one of us. But I did like,
he almost stopped to rescue us and shit.
I did like that episode where it wasn't like a Scooby-Doo thing where they were just like, this is the practical reasoning behind this. It was just like, no, this is a real ghost situation.
Yes.
And which, of course, Batman deals with that kind of shit in his everyday life all the time.
Not yet.
I like how when it got to the point where, like, hey, this is what it is, he just accepted it.
He was like, you know what? Maybe this is a ghost. Right. You know what, Pennyworth? Maybe you was right. Let's just go on the fact that you was right. And also, I like how in that moment, in that episode, he gets freezer burn in that episode, and he puts his hand in. He tells Alfred, like, hey, yo, you know this got to be at the right temperature for me.
Right.
I
am not losing a hand this early in my career.
But to like your point way earlier, Jeff, about how he was treating Alfred, I liked how Alfred never really sat back and took no bullshit either.
That was a good part. I'll give you that.
Yeah.
Also, real quick, we got another cameo in that episode. The guy who helped him out, gave him the spell and everything. That's Papa Midnight from Constantine.
Papa Midnight, yes. I was so excited to see Papa Midnight.
And you know what? We never get Constantine stuff unless it's Batman these days. Go ahead.
Well, I'm hoping we get more. I love Constantine. Well, we got Keanu coming back. But anyway, also, Bill, your favorite episode, the Clayface episode, they intentionally had Basil dressed as the Shadow, who was an inspiration for Batman.
We said that
as soon as we saw him, we both said
the Shadow knows.
That was on purpose, and the Shadow was one of the influences for what became Batman.
Batman, yeah. Check out the Does It Hold Up Shadow? No, the Shadow episode we did with LaRon. LaRon is actually a huge fan of the radio show. Actually had recordings of the radio show, so please go check that out.
That's fucking awesome. Oh, also, right before Trump got elected, there was an awesome 5-issue run of the Shadow that was really good too.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
In the chat, we got Constantine and Sandman,
and we will get her back in season 2.
Awesome.
And Jeff, like you didn't say what your favorite episode is.
Oh, the Harley Quinn episode.
It was a Harley Quinn episode. Yeah,
Absolutely. It was so good. And the funny part is, when we went into the episode, I fucking hated it. I was like, serious? Tickle torture? We're doing tickle torture. Really?
First of all, we did it with Huey. That's why I was like, yo, we just saw it with the boys.
But and they pulled it out, and I ended up absolutely loving it.
Phrasing.
And I've got one last thing for us. Would you guys? I'm not even just gonna ask. I'm just gonna tell you. Top 3 episodes according to IMDb. The last episode, Savage Nite, 8.7. The second to last episode, The Killer Inside Me, 8.6. And the third top rated, The Night of the Hunters, episode 4 at an 8.0. That's the one with Firefly and Gordon. And Gordon and Bats kind of teaming up for the first time, which that was a good episode too.
That was a really great episode, and I think that like more speaks to just like the writing overall on the show, that it wasn't like because I would assume that the last couple of episodes would be higher rated just because it's
and they
more relative, or like at least like the highest rated, because it's like more it's got a relation to
the climax.
It's the climax, and also it has nostalgia to the older. Yeah, and it has nostalgia to the older
source material.
Yeah, the older source material, the older show. But yeah,
weird thing. First time we've ever gotten Harvey Dent having the right side burned.
Absolutely, yeah. Great catch. This is why you
did not like this.
Come to the Drunk Banthas podcast, you stupid bitch. You come here, hang out, get laughs, pee on yourself just a little bit, just enough to where you can go to the bathroom, change your clothes, like just hit a little dab with the toilet tissue, and then come back, sit down, and continue listening to us right here at the Drunk Banthas channel. Oh, and NerdsatNite channel as well.
I'm gonna go to the restroom real quick, but I wanted to let you guys. I'm gonna let you guys. I want to bring up this
You're
question.
A cheater. Everybody's got to go to the bathroom. No, I'm joking.
Dude, just do what I do. Wear a diaper. Come on, be a man.
Yeah, come on, man.
It may be a little early to talk about this, but this feels like it's going to be a lock for best animated series for the Drunkies next year.
That's
or at least a nomination. At least a nomination.
I'm gonna let you go to the bathroom on that one.
I'm curious.
I will allow it.
How do you guys feel this ranks up to other lock-in nominees, X-Men 97 and Invincible? Do you guys?
I thought you were going to say hell yeah.
Well, that after the season ends, if it's a nominee,
maybe, you never know. Yeah, you know.
But how do you guys feel about it as it holds up to those other two shows?
So just shows, right? Animated shows, not movies.
Yeah, just Invincible and X-Men 97.
How does it hold up to those two shows? Damn, they're like 3 completely different shows,
right?
And
which is funny because they're all superheroes, but it feels like completely different genres of superheroes.
Exactly. Like, I mean, they are completely different genres of superheroes. As a matter of fact, they all belong to different comic book companies.
Image, Marvel, and DC. That's right.
Yeah. So, I haven't had enough time to sit with it yet. I've already watched X-Men twice, right? I watched Invincible twice already, mostly because they had a crazy hiatus that separated the season. That was the dumbest shit
Pissed off the entire fan base.
But I think that's why we got this entire series at once. I think that's the reason they did Fallout the same way. Is like, look, we tried splitting it up like some kind of traditional television bullshit. Let's just put it out.
Right.
I don't really like either because it doesn't really affect us well economically. We would like to have a better situation. Maybe parse these all out in 8 weeks, but whatever.
Right.
But yeah, I feel like this one sits in the top 2 out of those 3. Maybe.
Agreed. For me personally, I like X-Men 97 more, but I don't know if it will beat out over Batman Cape Crusader with everyone, because again, this one,
Right.
they both have a lot of nostalgia, but I feel like this one has more somehow. Which is funny because between the original X-Men and the original Batman animated series, I feel like I liked Batman more. But I was blown away with how X-Men 97 was done. I thought it was fantastic. Every part of it, the animation, the writing, the voice acting, I loved all of it. And the same with this, but I just X-Men 97 more.
Yeah, X-Men. I think I like X-Men 97 more, but I think that people, in my opinion, people might be able to gravitate towards this a little bit more, even though they did some gender reversals and all that stuff. The lesbian stuff in this didn't hit as hard. Like, to me, it wasn't like as, first of all, people complain about this kind of stuff, saying it's being shoved in their faces, and
which is funny because Montoya was always gay, and Harley was always, at the very least, bi, if not straight up Pam.
Which is why I am bringing up how it's effortlessly done in this one, and it's done the right way. So I'll just little tidbit here.
I don't know. I think they could have used a strap-on.
Alex knows this in Teen Titans, the live version, Teen Titans, the animated version, also Young Justice. I felt like the homosexual, bisexual thing was being forced. It was like you went into a room and said, hey, writers, figure out a way to make this work. Like, I know you got a story already, but figure out a way to make this gay. And I'm not saying that you shouldn't have more gay stories being told, right? But the thing is, when you make them bad, when you make them and you make them badly, then you're doing a disservice to the cause that you were trying to set out to represent, right?
Othelius has a comment pretty much similar to that. It was kind of there and it's gone. Let gay people have a happy, functional relationship on screen without tragedy. And then Talking Turd right after that, I always thought V for Vendetta was gay reading between the lines, which is interesting because that one, you'll remember we got, who was the guys? Not the guys. The girl, when they're reading that note that was in the cell, the inspiration for V and for Natalie Portman's, I'm just talking about the movie here, Natalie Portman's character to both kind of rise up came from reading that story about the lesbian couple who did have that relationship, and they had it and they loved it. And but then they lived in a world where even after years of everyone being okay with the LGBTQ community and everything, the world kind of just became what ours is becoming now.
Right. You know what? We're smart.
I'm never gonna catch it.
Here you go.
I'm gonna tell you what. The more drinks don't help my timing.
We should move on to the next topic, but I want to say real quick.
My impersonations get terrible. See, that was terrible. That was bad.
I don't know who that was supposed to be.
Exactly.
But I want to say real quick before
Fred Flintstone.
It really tripped me out because when we started watching Kite Man, I started.
Every time.
What?
Every time we say Kite Man, it sounds racist. That's all I can say.
Hell yeah.
If you don't understand, I'll explain.
Well, let's just say in South Park, there was a reason the character that was the character played the human kite. And yes, I absolutely made sure to overpronounce that.
Yes. Thank you, YouTube.
So, Hot D?
What was the word I was thinking about? Oh, yeah. Anyway,
that one.
It tripped me out when I was rewatching Harley Quinn, or I was watching for the first time Harley Quinn season 3 because I realized I hadn't finished it when Kite Man came out. Just been binge watching, and then I watched Batman the Cape Crusader, and then I hear Harvey Dent. I was like, is that Batman?
It is, and it absolutely was.
And fucking Dietrich Bader, is playing Harvey Dent. He also played Batman on Harley Quinn.
And he's also that's because he was also Batman in Batman the Brave and the Bold.
I never watched that show.
Neither did I. I didn't give a shit.
Oh,
But
man.
real quick, how about all right? I think it might be a good idea just to call this out. Listen to this lineup we had. We had Hamish Linklater, we had Dietrich Bader,
Oh man.
John DiMaggio, Michelle C. Bonilla, Crystal Joy Brown, Cedric Yarbrough,
Oh yeah, Cedric Yarbrough.
Jeff Bennett, Kimberly Brooks, Jamie Chung. Who else did we have in here? We had just like a lot of real top name talent. Toby Stevens, who if you don't remember him, if you ever saw what's it called? Black Sails, he was the captain in it. McKenna Grace. Dude, Christina Ricci is Catwoman.
Oh shit, I did not even know that.
Hold on, wait a minute.
I missed that. Christina Ricci.
That's
Yeah.
amazing.
Minnie Driver, Dan Donahue. Like, guys, this was a stacked show. David Krumholtz.
Krumholtz. I love
Late-
David Krumholtz. Who did he
Late-
play?
He was Fletcher Demings.
Yeah, well, I don't know.
He was.
Lacey Chabert was in this. Chabert, I don't know.
Oh, I love Lacey Chabert.
Haley Joel Osment.
She tried to make fetch happen.
Hold on, who is Haley? That's my homie.
He's Anton. Don't know what episode.
Yeah.
Dude.
Oh yeah, he's that black boy.
Dude, I gotta
episode
go
3.
back out. I gotta go out. His birthday suit. Dude, that's the homie. I hung out with him one time. We got really drunk.
Yeah, Frothy could not agree with you more.
Wait, what is it? Frothy
Oh,
say
Frothy
here?
said in the
That was
comments.
a very piercing sound.
Hey,
David
Get over
K,
it.
underrated actor, should be in more. Absolutely.
Hell yes.
I loved seeing him in Oppenheimer. But we have to move on to our next topic, just so we don't hit a 4-hour episode. It's happened before. It cannot happen again.
I mean, I hit
know what
I've
we're
been
talking
hitting the dimension button.
Also, we keep talking. Things keep happening. Batman is too engaging of a topic.
I got something really fun to get us on to the next topic.
Ooh, what is it? What's our transition?
A woman was denied getting her 6-year-old child a passport in England because she named her child Khaleesi, and they said they would have to get Warner Brothers permission first.
Oh wow.
That is insane.
Oh,
Warner
wow.
Brother, no one man should have so much power. That is insane. And then, that is a pretty great transition over to our Hot D finale, the Queen.
Hot D.
Yes.
Let me hear y'all complain about them sounds.
Yes.
Let me hear you complain about them sounds right there.
That is the theme song that is never wrong. So nice. They used it twice. I can't believe they just brought back the same theme song.
I can. Why would you change it? Like, why?
Yeah, what mess with a good thing?
Agreed, but I mean, I feel like most shows would have.
And that's why those are canceled. It's still going, god damn it.
Let's run through some of the things that happened in this episode. Tywin Lannister allies with the Triarchy, but must first defeat Admiral Sharako Lohar in a mud wrestling competition. He wins, impressing her, and
Roll
Larys
Tide.
convinces Larys convinces Aegon that they exile themselves in Bravos, where Harrenhal's gold is stashed, then reclaim the throne following the war. Now I we'll get to Larys and Aegon later, but I kind of thought that this scene with
Laegon.
the Lannister.
Larys Leon.
Oh, Laegon. That's a cute little couple
He's a
name.
strong though, isn't he? So a strong,
Lay strong.
lay strong, lay strong.
Strong.
I don't know.
Frothy says, "I'm so excited. I actually watched this."
Oh, right on.
Right? She's this whole
That's good.
been waiting. Fucking pterodactyl process. It's dragon time. It's dragon time.
So I originally I was kind of out on this scene with the Lannisters. Oh, sorry.
Meme.
Bill, Fifth Bantha said in the chat, Bill, it's time to talk about that meme.
Oh yeah, you got it right here. It's talking about. I don't know if I shared it. I don't think I shared it. It's okay. I'm an okay producer. I promise. I'm bringing it up right now.
Okay, I'll let you work behind the scenes, but like, just to bring.
It's on my text messages. I feel stupid now.
Just to talk about this scene, like I personally, like, when I was putting together the rundown where we're going to talk about, I was like, I'm just going to leave this scene out because it's not that important. It's not that interesting. Because I didn't.
Until Alex finds out, dude gets to fuck all her wives. Then Alex is like, it's going in.
Oh, I'm intrigued. No, I was kind of out on all of this. Like, it seemed a little too cute and whatever for me. But I was like, we should talk about this because it feels like it might have some implications going forward with this story. But then I found out that the character who is introduced in the show is a YouTuber, a YouTuber that I actually really like. I just didn't recognize.
Friend of the show.
Yeah, friend of the show, Philosopher Tube. I've watched so many of their videos, but they ended up in this episode. YouTubers ended up on Game of Thrones. It's kind of crazy. But Jeff, what did you think of this scene, like between these two and the Lannister and Lohar? And are you a fan of Philosophy Tube? Did you know who this was when you watched it?
No, I just looked her up. But hey, come on the show. Let's talk about this. And then, can you get me on House of Dragon?
Yeah, it's crazy. I pointed it out to Alex today. I was like, yo, every motherfucking YouTuber on YouTube has talked about this girl being in this motherfucking movie. I mean, this motherfucking TV show. But, you know, YouTuber do something, Angel gets his wings. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I did just subscribe, so that's.
Hey, you know what I'm talking about? Get it how you live, man. But yeah, how'd you feel, Jeff? How'd you feel about
I thought it was an interesting bit of the episode because, like you said, it's made to be just kind of like some filler, not really important part, but like it felt like there was something underneath to the point where like I actually looked up her character's name because I was like, is this like Cersei and Jamie and Tyrion's mom? Like it was at that point where I was like, what's going on here? Yeah. But like then it was just like, okay, no, it's way too far time-wise for her to obviously be their parent.
Okay. Yeah.
But
years, yeah.
But it's definitely there's something going on here. The entire time you can tell that this is going to be much more important than we know or that we're seeing yet. And I don't think it's just because her fleet. I think this is going to become when, like, yes, the Lannisters are a well-known and highly esteemed family. I think she's going to help them become the fucking powerhouse they are by the time we get to Game of Thrones.
Yeah, like, yeah, it definitely seems like this show does a little bit better of a job, maybe just because it's a second bite at the apple. They do a better job of showing what's pertinent in the storyline. There's not a lot of just like superfluous scenes that never get picked up later on in the show. Like it seems like all these scenes are gonna matter going forward. Case in point, like little scenes with Ulf, like hanging out in the bar. It just seems like kind of unnecessary scenes until recently, where he's become intricate.
Where he's just hanging out at the table.
He's still doing the same thing.
He's doing the same thing, just being an asshole. I don't like Ulf, man.
Such a twat.
I should have, man. Yeah, we should have put one in his neck, man.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I'm saying.
But I mean, also just so the other thing is like, I don't know about you guys, but the entire House of Dragon, Frothy disagree. The entire House of Dragons show to me, it's just every time we see a Lannister, I'm like, really? These guys become the Lannisters we know? I think she's what?
Right. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Like adds a little bit more strength to their.
She seems so weak, you know.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I'm high boy. You know who it was? It reminded me of. It reminded me of old Hightower man from from Game of Thrones, where it's like, man, you don't got the power to hold on to your station. You just have your station. and
Right.
but you still think you are that whole powerful man who's like, oh, you think that everyone's bowing down to you? You're a fucking joke.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a
Little
lot-
Frothy pointed out, she says, to see these two slug it out, only to find out that the lady got off on it, it made me highly uncomfortable. And
Which
she
just-
brings up the line that she says, "You are thin." I didn't feel uncomfortable by it. Jeff said he didn't feel uncomfortable either. Like I thought the shit where she said "you are thin," it was like a compliment, a backhand compliment, right? She's
Right.
like, "What kind of man are you though?"
Well, I think she was also like, God, you're a weak little man.
Right. Well, yes, but at the same time, she's looking at him like, "Can he give me some babies?" Not for me, obviously.
That was also really like.
So
that's an interpretation of that request.
yeah, she's sizing him up really the whole time. Like, when we get to where we get to, you know what I mean? Like, we find out that she really wants him to, lay some pipe down.
And we got Ray and White Worm were into some freaky stuff, huh?
Yeah, exactly. See, she's looking at it like, look, we don't got running water here. And I need to lay down some pipe.
And yet things are still gonna get wet.
It's
entendres.
Sausage. And this will not be the last time we talk about sausage.
Yes, unfortunately. Yeah, there's a unfortunate description of sausage later on. But yeah, later out of anger, we see that Aemond lays waste to the sharp point with Vagar. Ray, who hoped to have more dragon riders would Ray, who hoped that dragon riders would deter conflict, unfortunately ends up declaring war. Now, what did you guys think of?
Sharp Point's also the closest land city to Dragonstone. So I kind of took that also as just like he was like when he ran away from the three dragons, he was like, "Oh, I'm gonna burn this down on my way," Like I didn't think it was like he planned it out. I thought it was more like while he's running like a bitch, he's like, well, hey, you go cough on there and kill everyone.
Yeah, I can
running
see
like a whole ass bitch. Because that's one of the favorite things for me to say on the podcast.
Whole ass bitch.
No, just bitch.
It's a very plosive, rewarding word to say.
Yeah.
But this did kind of feel like that. Remember that episode, the Treehouse of Horror episode of Simpsons, where the donut guy kicks the dog.
The giant donut. Was it the donut guy?
The guy who's holding the donut, like
Fat Boys or Happy Boys or some shit like that. It's
Yeah,
here in LA. Yeah. But go ahead.
Yeah, he couldn't do what he wanted to do. So on his way out the door, he basically kicks a dog 50 yards away.
Right.
And this kind of felt that same situation was like, well, I can't do what I want to do. I'm gonna fucking burn this place because what are they gonna do?
I'll tell you what they're gonna do. Die.
Right? It's like that's exactly what they're gonna do. And it was just kind of seemed like what his in line with his character. Like he's gonna be impulsive. He's gonna be violent. But what did you think of this opening moments where, like, because Ray finally commits to war, which we see
the opening moment is with Damon.
Not the opening moment, but just like this
Isn't
moment.
the opening moment when Bernie Boy is just sitting there looking a lot like his daddy.
Right. Yeah. Unfortunately. But sorry, I didn't mean opening moment. But this moment with Ray where she decides she's actually going to commit to war because she's sort of been on the fence about using these basically nuclear weapons. But she's like, having the weapons isn't going to be a deterrent to war. Now we actually have to go do something. What did you think about her resolution of that?
Well, I mean, I already knew that was I already know a lot was going to happen. I'll tell you what I felt about how they portrayed these specific parts. This part made me feel like You're talking about with her conversation with Corliss.
Yeah, specifically
Because
Corliss.
because you jumping around with that part, but
You bitch.
I'm just saying it's a little out of order. But what I will say is Corliss is trying to inform her to like, yo, this is the time to jump on it right now, right? Like we got to go out here and we got to get it. We are in a situation where we can be in an advantage, and clearly Eamon is panicking at this point, right? He's looking at it like, yo, he's young, he's not experienced, he's gonna see all this stuff as a failure, he's gonna get agitated, he's gonna make a wrong move. You know what I'm saying? Like that's what we need to focus on. We need to just get at it.
Yeah.
Right. And then we see that in the opening scene where he is like burned down this city. Now, I thought it was odd for them to start that way, where it's just burning and he's just standing there looking at it.
Yeah.
But I feel like, and they feel like, I feel like they feel like the audience is intelligent enough to understand what's going on. I don't have to show you all this stuff. But I also feel like that was a budget decision.
Oh, 100%.
You know what I'm saying? Like we could have opened up with him burning a couple of towers and then, or just one opening scene where just fire and then he's just sitting over there looking. So but yeah, other than that, yeah, I felt like, you know, she's got to have conversations with him, right? He's the hand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we have seen a couple of moments
Corliss,
where,
by the way, for people who are listening.
We've seen a couple of moments in the season where it's half budget, half artsy, where like we cut the big action sequence and we just see a bunch of dead people in a field. It's very emotionally evocative, but also very costly effective. So they've been doing.
I think it hits harder, to be honest. I think you're right when you say it's emotionally evocative. I think that is exactly what it is. It has more of a sense. Yes, Game of Thrones is great because we do get these dope battles where we just, I mean, hey, as bloody as you can fucking make it, but not everything has to be. And sometimes that desensitizes you to other things. So doing that in the beginning of an episode that's a gamble that if you don't have to do it, why would you, you know?
They've been using like obviously they've garnered a lot of goodwill from fanfare from Game of Thrones. So.
I don't trust them motherfuckers at all.
Yeah, it's actually weird that they have so much trust after the last.
Actually, you know why they got trust, and I retract my last statement. The reason they got trust is because this story is done.
Yeah, it's actually
you know what
written.
I mean?
Yeah.
So, and that's when Game of Thrones started getting bad. Like the closer they got to where they didn't know what was going to happen from where they were going, like then the worse the show got. And I don't think
it's like when an anime needs to starts outwriting the manga, and it's like, fuck, throw together a filler season. And it's like no one cares about the bounce, man.
Precisely.
Producer Terry said in the chat, I don't have trust in them. Why I'm still on season 1.
Well, you're needing to catch yourself up, man. Punch yourself in the face and go ahead and watch House of the Dragon season 2, man. Go ahead and do it.
Yep, I've heard some complaints about this season, and I've heard some people say that it maybe works a little bit better if you binge it all at once, because some people had some pacing issues with it. But I
think the Harrenhal stuff would have been a lot easier if we got it. Like, I wouldn't have wanted all the Harrenhal stuff, just that with nothing in between. But I think having all of Harrenhal situations at one time would have been easier to digest, if that makes sense. Like I still would have wanted the stuff that comes in between the Harrenhals,
but
I would have liked a more. Give me all of that together, you know.
I'll tell you what should have happened with that. They should have only had. They should have had one episode where none of that happened. They should have had one episode where we didn't have Daemon at all. You know what I'm saying? Instead of going back to him for parcels of morsels of a story and not having any like type of feeling of a resolution, and then just split that into two. So let's say that we got 4 episodes of that. It should have been 2 or 1 or 3.
Right.
Because we should have had 2 on the back end and 1 on the front end. Right.
Yeah,
we get 1, we don't see him for another episode, then we move some of the stuff up. So let's say, we don't see him in episode 3. Then we do see him in episode 4, but we move shit up from episode 4 that we had and move it up into episode 3 type shit. And I think that would have made it easier. But also, I'm not gonna lie to y'all, and maybe it's just because I'm a book reader, dog. They paid all of that. All of that paid off in the last.
Oh yes,
the last episode.
Yeah. I feel like I mean, when it comes to these TV shows, it's interesting the way they try to edit it out or pace it out, because we have shows episodes like Battle of the Bastards, or not Battle of the Bastards, Watchers on the Wall. Watchers on the Wall, where it's just like it's all just what's happening here on the wall. Is we're not cutting in between a whole bunch of different stories that are happening throughout Westeros, and they very well could have done that.
You just made a really good album for Rage Against the Machine. Watchers on the Wall.
Watchers on the Wall. Killing in the name of. But yeah, like it's But let's move on to later on in the episode. Ulf's boorish behavior encourages Jace.
Who? Wait a minute. Ulf's boyish behavior. I got you.
Yeah, it enrages.
I thought you said boorish.
No, but I'm just making sure I heard you right.
All right. Ulfur.
Ulf's boorish behavior enrages Jace. Aelin rebuffs Corliss's attempts at reconciliation, and Ray and Adam fly to Harrenhal after Simon Strong sends a warning that Daemon may be a traitorous. Now, what did you think of like Ulf in all of this? Because he seems like he seems very unfazed by all the pageantry here, and he's just like he seems like a when keeping it real goes wrong episode about to come to pass.
No, fuck
he's a twat.
Yeah, like so he wasn't written like this in the book. You don't really know much or find out much about Hugh the Hammer, or otherwise known as Big Bill from Warrior, and Adam, who is chill. You don't know much about these characters, and so knowing that seeing that both of those guys, that Adam and Hugh the Hammer can conduct themselves in a
like adults.
Exactly, like in a noble manner, and then Ulf just is choosing not to. You know what I'm saying? Like that just shows you. But I do want to say that I feel like he had a genuine moment. Like I think that when he saw Jace and he realized that Jace was who he was, I think that really made him like the reason he gave him a hug is because that's his nephew.
Well,
you know what I'm saying? And like I think he's looking at it from that manner. Now it's also Hugh the Hammer's nephew. So hey, I'm reacting one way, you're reacting another way. Maybe you should act how I'm acting.
Right.
Well, so here's the thing. I could have given Ulf a pass after that moment, but then that next night at dinner, he's even fucking worse in front of the queen.
Exactly.
They should have gone Yakuza style and cut off a pinky.
Just cut his tongue out, because that's the part that bothers you. It's his talking.
Well, and I don't know about you guys, but at that dinner, when he's like, you can tell he's already too big for his britches. I'm a dragon rider. But like the way he was talking,
was Bane at this dinner.
Oh, blow it up. It gave me kind of Euron Greyjoy vibes, in the sense of like, you guys shouldn't be trusting this guy. He's clearly setting up to betray you big. And I think the way he's going to betray you is by turning to the other side or giving them something they want. Like he's going to betray you to them, I feel. And I just
I hated him. I felt like this is why you need Damon around, because Damon would have literally had the King's Guard hold him down, or the Queen's Guard in this particular situation.
Hold your tongue.
They would have held him down, and they would have pulled his tongue out with some vice grips, and they would have hot pokered his tongue out of his mouth. And he would have still had to ride that dragon after that. Or you could die.
You've been like that weirdo in Game of Thrones who had his tongue pulled out.
I'll tell you what, this is not something you will hear me say often.
Yeah.
But he could have used some Cersei Lannister justice here. Remember, and I think it was season 2 when she has the King's Guard. She's like, King's Guard, kill Tyrion. And then they pull out all the weapons. She's like, stop. Turn around. Walk 3 paces, like just that on him.
Yes. Well, you know what? And to your point, because that was what I was getting to is that's why you need Damon around, because Rhaenyra is a great person. Like she's a good person. Yeah. She really doesn't want to see bad things happen to people. Right. She's being forced, same as Alicent. They're being forced into making decisions by the men in their life that have made terrible decisions that they now have to play a part in, an enormous part in, and all they've ever wanted to do, which, by the way, all they've ever wanted to do is fly on dragons together and go off in the world and travel. And remember when I was saying that they were in a lesbian relationship in the first season, and it was like, you was like, well, I don't see that. And I was like, man, I see it. You don't see them laying together. They're talking about this. They talking about, you're like, I don't see it. Well, I think it's even more proven now.
I thought they were going to make out this episode.
Because she says to her,
Ray Ray's cool with making out random chicks now.
Ray Ray was like, Alicent was like, come with me. Like, let's leave together. Like, fuck it. We don't need this life. And you could tell Rhaenyra was like she looked like a person who is like, I have been hurt. I've asked you to do the same thing before, but now you're coming back asking me bitch, what you want me to do with that? I asked you that. I asked you that when we were 16, bitch. Like you, right? Then you married and fucked my daddy. Like that's how do we work this out?
Right. And even just like I guess would be like maybe 10 months ago, she came to her in the same way, like where she broke into King's Landing to appeal to her nature, and she was just like, nah, man, too much shit has happened. We can't reverse what's happening. Yeah. But now the shit's got to be different. Now that we come to her.
Yeah, Ray Ray's definitely sitting there like, yeah, certainly less shit has happened than the last time we made this offer.
Right, right. But we've lost less children than we did last time.
I read a book series a long time ago where these tribes had a peace leader and a war leader. Ray Ray's definitely the peace leader.
Yeah.
Damon's the war leader.
Yeah.
Yes. And that's kind of what I was saying is that they work or they would work better together than they would apart. But it was in the beginning of the season, it was, we forget. It's so crazy how this is only 8 episodes, but we're so far away from Damon making a mistake and accidentally sending some retarded motherfuckers over to kill somebody, and they do the actual opposite shit that he actually said to do. So he's dealing with the guilt, shame, and pain.
Who could have thought the illiterate idiots I sent to do a job messed it up?
Who knows? I mean, everybody's illiterate, right? Like that's what he's thinking, right? Like I don't know no smart people. I just don't, I just know people who kill people. That's what I know. That's all I know how to do. And his ambition, because he didn't talk to anybody about that, right? Like his ambition caused him to make a mistake that then swirled them deeper into this, because remember, no one was actually at war. You know what I mean? Like there's this thing where they were really just in a family dispute, a family squabble.
Right.
You know, no one was really at war. And then Aemon killed Luke Skywalker.
Yeah, a lot of the events like ended
I
up.
think he was Luke Skyfaller.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah, a lot of
Luke
events.
Dragon food is what the hell he was.
A lot of events ended up leading to where they are now, which is just like makes it so tragic for all the characters involved, and like how they can't just like go back and make things how they were before.
Yeah. That's what I said at the beginning of this. There's nothing good that is going to happen in any of this show with any of these characters.
Yeah, this is not the feel good story of the show, story of the year. And then later in the episode, Alice leads Damon into the weirwood tree where he foresees a future including the White Walker and Daenerys Targaryen. Daenerys Targaryen, seeing himself as part of a larger story, he swears fealty to the newly arrived Ray. Now, what did you guys think of this vision where we get these visions of Dany Targaryen, the goat, and how this influences Damon to change his fealty? Jeff, I'll let you go first.
I thought it was good. I thought it was really interesting how they pulled it all together really quickly. We had a lot of imagery thrown at us really fast, and I don't think even Damon understands just how much he was seeing. I think he obviously saw the fall of the Targaryens with the dead dragons. I think he saw the White Walkers, and if he didn't completely know what they were, I think he has a good enough understanding of them. There's no way he understands what the Three-Eye Raven was. I'm not sure if I do after multiple watchings of Game of Thrones. But he
who knows?
I got you.
Right?
I got you.
I mean, if anything's going to break him out of that funk, though, I think it's self-preservation. That's why he's so fucking selfish. So obviously seeing a vision of the dragons dying, he's like, well, pull it all back together. I gotta save us and the dragon somehow, you know?
Yeah. Absolutely. First of all, that's what I want to say. First of all, but also let's just get to it. First of all, I feel like, you know what? I feel like Charles Barkley. I said first of all 3 times, and I said something about each one of those times, but then I said first of all again, and I will say it again. Goddamn!
When you say first of all 3 times, Beetlejuice does show up.
Look, I'm gonna say what happens when you say it 4 times. They show up with a Subway sandwich. Anyway, first of all, when I saw this scene when it first happened, like Damon touches the weirwood tree, which is also the face of George R.R. Martin.
Yeah.
Really?
That's funny. Yeah, it really is.
If you watch the behind the scenes stuff afterwards, it's George. They bring George on set and they're like, "Oh, look at that, George." And he's like, "Oh, it was me." Yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
Anyway, when he put his hand on the tree and shit just like went into the vision, Lil Frothy can tell you, I was like, like I was like, because I could not believe what they were showing y'all. They just fucking spoiled so much shit. Like, if you're a book reader, man, they just ruined so much shit for people who aren't book readers, and you don't even know it. You have no idea. So that was so dope to me. And one of the things that I will talk about that's not spoilery, because like Jeff mentioned, we got to see some stuff that's clearly from the Song of Ice and Fire, but it was like, where does this like, why is this happening? Like, what are we seeing? When are we seeing it? And one of the things is the three-eyed raven, right? We get to see this young Targaryen looking dude with a birthmark on his face.
Which the three-eyed raven, it almost looked like he was flying out of Winterfell because it was a dark castle that he appeared in.
Right. So there's a lot of... So Brynden Rivers, that is the name of the three-eyed raven that we see in Game of Thrones, a television show. His name's never said, but he is a Targaryen who was a bastard, as you just said, but he was legitimized by his father, who was the king, before he was before he died. Before his father died, he made him a legitimate heir. So he was supposed to be king because a bunch of people, you know how it is in this show. I mean, in this story, people die, especially heirs to the throne, and then it goes
Especially bastard heirs.
Now, just not just try to spoil anything because they're clearly going to use this guy coming up in the Dunk and Egg series and all the other shit because that's when he lived, is during the Dunk and Egg time period. But Aegon, who was at the blind guy in Game of Thrones, who was at the wall, that's his brother, Brynden Rivers. It's his stepbrother, but it's his brother.
Oh, really?
Brynden Rivers gets sent to the wall years and years and years before, when Aegon is still...
He was like, I'm just going to keep walking.
Right. Well, that's kind of what happened. Like, what happened is the magic of the walls drew him towards, something was calling, much like something was calling to Jon Snow, and much like things called to other people who took on the black. And so, long story short, Rivers goes out to he was a ward. What do you call it? Is a ward?
Yeah, I think it's a ward.
Yeah, he was a ward.
They could take over animals and dull-witted children.
Bam, there you go. You paraphrase the hell out of it for me, so I don't even have to do it. And so and we gotta quit hitting this damn squeaky ass shit. But anyway, because that was bothering me. But anyway,
by the way, pterodactyl pie. That's a good quote. I like that. Episode 7 was Bastard Buffet.
But that is accurate.
But yeah,
right?
Brynden Rivers then becomes, like, we're not gonna go into all the bullshit, but Brynden Rivers becomes the three-eyed raven by sitting underneath that rearwood tree where he sits so long, and he becomes so in a trance that with the future and the past and the present, that he then sits there and the roots grow within it, right? Now, like I said, I'm not trying to it was really hard for me to say that because I'm trying not to spoil anything that happens within that story, because we do have the Dunk and Egg story that's coming, and Aegon, the one we see at the wall in Game of Thrones, will be in that series with Duncan. Crazy fucking show, crazy storyline, but we see all of this within milliseconds, right? Like, we're seeing this in frames. So it was just blowing my mind how much we were getting to see. We see Daenerys, we see the blood meteor flying through, signifying that dragons were born into the world. But I don't think we see everything. Like, we're just seeing little shards of what Daemon is seeing. I think Daemon sees it all happen. He sees every bloodline, every birth, which is why he dedicates himself to Rhaenyra. Not because I think he had already lost his ego at that point.
Oh, I thought you could say his mind.
Oh, yeah, that too. But I think he had already lost his ego at that point, and that's why he was able to.
Night talking turd.
Say that again.
Talking turd's taking bed by the time.
Oh yeah, Talking Turd says gotta go to bed before I turn into a pumpkin. Been a blast. Been a blast, gang. See you next time. Take care, everyone.
Take care, man. Hopefully,
Night, homie.
Thursday. Hopefully, see you Thursday.
Producer T said in the chat they better cast somebody tall for Sir Duncan.
They have. You can look it up right now. They already got the
Peter Dinklage.
But anyway,
you're pulling a Robert Downey Jr. It's like you love the first.
Tom Cruise. It's Tom Cruise as Duncan the Tall. Anyway, but yeah, last thing I'll just basically say about like I was saying to wrap that up is that like I said, I think that he's seeing everything. We're just seeing shards of what he saw. But I think he's seen it all, which is why he's so willing to give himself to Rhaenyra, because he's like, no, you was right. Yo, daddy was right. My brother was right. We should make you the queen. You're who's supposed to be on the throne, because for everything to play out the way it's going to play out throughout history, you have to be on this throne. Like you are a part of this story, like Helena says, which
right.
I'm hoping I'm doing a good segue toss over to you right now.
Yeah. I was actually gonna bring up he's not the only person who had a vision in this episode, or at least a discussion of a
double vision.
Aemon demands that Helena fly Dreamfire into battle. She refuses.
Look, good. I'm gonna.
Oh yeah. She refuses and predicts Aemon will die in the war, saying that killing her will not alter his fate. How did you guys, Jeff? How did you feel about this scene, specifically about Aemon's reaction? Because he looked at her like he felt that, like he believed that shit. Like this is actually what's gonna happen.
Sorry, spaced the F out. So first off, dude, it's long nights. So first off, I actually think that she had one of the best quotes that just describes all of Game of Thrones, when she just goes, I was happier before I was queen. I was like, yep, that's the show. That is the description of the show.
Yeah.
But I was interested. I've never been more interested in her. She's always just been kind of a weak character. Not like physically weak, although maybe, I don't know. More just like they didn't put a lot into her. She was just kind of there to barely move the story along.
Mm-hmm.
She definitely never passed a Bechdel test. She ain't no Harley Quinn. But at this point, she was finally like, oh, now you're acting like a fucking Targaryen. Maybe you don't got the swords and shit, but you got the words and you got the fucking mind. I think she really got into Aemon's head here. The questions I have are, one, does Aemon have more power as a prince than she does as a queen? That scene where like he grabs her arm and he's just being a real prick. Like, couldn't she have just been like, Kingsguard, kill, let's go? But also, like, Aemon's gonna try and fuck her, right? He's gonna try and be like, "You're my wife now, sister," and then be like, "All right, let's make web-toed babies."
I mean, maybe that is kind of what this show does sometimes.
They start fucking. It was gross.
Like that's kind of.
You were rolling around in that mud. That one gross.
That was not gross. That was just poorly choreographed.
But all of that to come back to the thesis of this was the most badass she's ever been. She cut him deep with just her fucking words.
For sure. Yeah, like she just kind of put him in his place. Like he's definitely one of the more violent and unpredictable characters on the show, but this was kind of a scene where she put him in his place and was like, hey, no matter what you do to me, your fate is already sealed. And I think he has enough wisdom to know that she's not just like saying bullshit. Like she knows that sometimes the shit that she predicts actually comes true. So he has a reason.
But he's got too much arrogance to back down.
He's back down to a certain extent because he didn't like throw her off the balcony or anything like that.
But I mean, like what she's saying is like, dude, just give it up. He's like,
right, yeah. But he's still gonna keep doing what he's doing. That dog gonna hunt as as they say.
Producer T, safe flight, brother. Enjoy your better home.
Yes. Have a safe trip to Tokyo. Producer T, Pterodactyl said in the chat, it's hard to tell whether they have or haven't already.
He's talking about the fucking.
He's talking about sex. And Lil
They
Frothy
had
said,
sex. It was gross. Like I remember, I heard it.
I thought he was gonna push her off the balcony. Yeah. And
All right, well, let me go ahead and get this shit, man. Let me get in here, man. Let me jump in here, man.
Go for it.
First of all, Jeff, you're absolutely right. This is the first time she really showed that I am a Targaryen. Like, don't get it twisted. Like, I'm about that life. You know what I mean? She did tell him, like, how he was going to die, but she didn't tell him how he was going to die because she was mad at him. She told him how he was going to die because he's not heeded any of the warnings that have come before.
And that's why she just stated it like it's a fact.
Yeah, because so the first warning came when, and I can't remember her name, and I feel bad about it because no one who considers themselves a foremost expert on Game of Thrones and Blood and Fire, or Fire and Blood, they all consider themselves experts. None of them have said what it is that. None of them have mentioned. I try not to fucking spoil shit.
Don't spoil.
Look, none of them have
outside, nerd.
Spoil.
Exactly. So look, what I'll say is there was no way she was getting ready to throw him off here. She has the ability to see everything that is happening. Old girl that was the pros that was holding him, the professional that was holding him and consoling him. She has a way bigger part in the book, which is, I don't know if they're going to use that, so that's why I don't want to say nothing. But but she tells him, she warns him, hey, when princes get mad, it's the small folk who have to deal with the consequences.
Yeah.
And I think that episode's called Small Folk.
Small folk, yeah.
Yeah, it was.
Well,
So now Helena's basically fed up at this point. She warned him that he was going to have to lose an eye. She warned Aegon and Aemon that the dance of the dragons would happen, that there would be green and the blacks fighting against each other. She told these people when there was going to be another dragon rider because she saw the crickets and she said they stopped singing. And that's because the dragons were singing. We saw how Sea Smoke was just unrest. Like he was like, yo, I gotta actually they're all female. So anyway,
But she was like, oh, I smell my bitch.
Right. Exactly. And we've seen Sheep Stealer, who is in the Vale, like running around.
Accurate name.
Yeah, very accurate name. Oh, right on the nose.
apt.
And they, so we see Sheep Stealer out there, and
Words are hard.
These dragons need people. They need riders.
Yeah,
they do have blood bonds, and I think that this whole show is built.
Are you saying they've all synced up?
They have, some of them. And we'll have a rider for the cannibal, which that's going to be crazy with a dragon. But anyway, just not to get off topic. Helena is letting him know right now, like, yo, son, I know everything. And I know I know everything, which is why he doesn't really challenge her. He doesn't say, you're wrong. He doesn't say, hey, fuck you.
Yeah.
He doesn't say, come do what I want you to do anyway. He goes, that's treason that you're speaking of. Like, yeah, motherfucker, yeah, I know.
Well, again, she's a fucking queen. Doesn't she have more power than a prince?
But no, that's another thing I wanted to touch on. No female has more power than any man in this show.
Yeah, which is really fucked up.
Let's not get it twisted.
Like, I think Ulf and Ray Ray are on the same playing field.
That's so crazy. This was on the feminist Newsweek's reading list.
That's the thing. if they win, let's just say the blacks win this war, which I hate saying that. That's the first time we said this on this goddamn. Let's say Ray team, they win, right?
Team Ray.
Team Ray, right? Then that means that Ulf could challenge her for her position as heir. He could challenge her right to the throne because technically he is. If Damon is not there, then that's him who's next in line.
Ray, cut out Ulf's tongue, cut off his dick. You're good to go.
That's how I say. That's what I say.
We do have to move on, but I do want to just say real quick as far as all that goes, because it's interesting that everybody has all this paranoia around the lineage of the Targaryens, and there's always been this paranoia about like who is in line for the throne, who has the rightful heir to the throne, who has the rightful like whatever to the throne, who's supposed to be sitting on the throne, and sometimes a nigga just goes and takes it. Like, so Robert Baratheon just went and killed somebody, and that's like that's why he became the king. Like, I think basically whoever
Robert Baratheon, they have Targaryen blood all the way.
I thought he had Valerian blood.
There's Targaryen blood all the way to Aegon the Conqueror.
Targaryen, Valerian, who gives a shit?
I'm just saying. I'm just saying that was his. I'm just saying that there is a reason that Robert Baratheon was able to take the throne is because that they are very close cousins to the Targaryens. So therefore they do have Targaryen blood and they're not bastards. So they were able to say that he could take it. So if Ned Stark had tried to take it, for instance, nobody would have been cool with that. Just so you.
But my point is that the dude he wasn't in line. He came up and he killed a bunch of people until he sat on the throne. And
it was like, stab mine.
You say that, but he was the next in line because he killed everybody.
But he's the next in line the way those two Lannister cousins in Game of Thrones were next in line. Like, okay.
He's keeping
technically, yeah.
Well, I understand that y'all are saying that, but you haven't read the book, and that's what I'm trying to say. That's how succession goes in this book. People just die, or and like I said, these are retellings of retellings that are in the book. That's the appeal of the book, right? We don't really know what actually happened, and so you have a lot of people who die in battles or freak accidents, or like one fucking king died and they found him impaled by the throne itself. It's like, well, that didn't happen on accident.
Right.
Like, but they all just deemed it an accident and it was over with.
Yeah.
My point is that these things happen in this show. So it does seem sensational from the outside looking in, but once you've already read it and you know how many times this type of stuff happens, like repeating history type thing, it just goes to the point to proving the fact that the Song of Ice and Fire is absolutely right. There has to be a Targaryen on the throne, which is why Robert Baratheon it still made sense because he did have Targaryen blood, however thin it may be.
Yeah. I guess the Game of Thrones kind of didn't stick the landing on that, but let's move on.
They didn't have the time to explain it. Yeah, you're right.
Aided by Orwell, Alicent sneaks onto Dragonstone, offering to surrender King's Landing to Ray's forces. Ray insists that Aegon must die to ensure the transition, but ultimately accepts. What did you guys think of this scene? Because it does, like we mentioned earlier, that this is kind of like a telling or sort of an homage, not an homage, whatever. It's just like it feels reminiscent of the scene earlier in this season where they try to come to an understanding for peace, but they actually come to a resolution. But do you guys feel like this will this agreement will fall apart since Aegon has fled and there's no like he can't be sacrificed, as it were, amongst this agreement, Jeff?
So yeah, first off, gave her a real Sophie's choice in this one, hey, she wants to keep her daughter alive. Like, all right, well then son's got to die. Which I also understand why Ray Ray was saying that. She wasn't like, I don't like the fucker. If you want me to do this for you, you got to do that for me. No. She was like, no, like they just burned down this entire fucking, what was this, the city? Sharp Point.
Yeah, Sharp Point.
Aemon burned it down and killed thousands in Aegon's name. This whole war has been going on because of Aegon and everything. And, you know, like there's been too much animosity. The people won't accept it unless Aegon dies. So I like that. That was a big part of showing that Ray Ray isn't just, you know, mean and vindictive, which I really enjoyed. And I agree with her. In this world, look at the original Game of Thrones. They were terrified of Daenerys off on another country because they know she comes back, she's got a claim, she can take the throne. So I thought it was a good point. I don't know if I believed Allison when she's like, all right, yeah, you can kill my son. But yeah, I think this is going to be a big issue. The question that I have is it going to be a big issue because the small folk are going to be like, nah, can't transfer power if old king ain't dead? Or is it going to be an issue because it's going to be like, all right, Ray and her team take over, they're good, and then years down the line, Aegon comes back, and that's when there's a new war or another war or something like that. And then one thing I was wondering the entire time Alicent was there, how the fuck did she get there? Doesn't she got to fly there? She ain't got a dragon.
So
how'd she get there so fast?
Let's pull it up where Westeros is. They're not that far.
They're far enough she can't just take a carriage and get there in a night.
No. And I don't think she got there in a night. I think that's one thing that that they don't do well enough to try to explain. And honestly, it'd be almost impossible for them to do it, which is, okay, we're gonna have these days of travel. Like she could
have said, Rhaenyra or Ray, I've been traveling 3 days to get this message to you.
It wouldn't take that long. That's what I'm saying.
But no. I'm not saying 3 days. Like I'm saying
right.
They could have gotten that across.
But this is the thing. It doesn't take but like a night to get there, like a day. You know what I'm saying? It's a day trip. You know what I'm saying? Like, because it used to be, if you're thinking about it from the Game of Thrones, the TV show or the book, if you're thinking about it from that time period, it used to be the place where the prince, regent, or like the queen, whoever was going to be falling in line as the heir, that's your place. That's your hood. That's where you live. Dragonstone. Right?
Oh, I guess it is a lot fucking closer than I thought.
You see what I'm saying? I was gonna look it up, but y'all can look it up on your own.
I got it on my phone. Yeah, it's way close. I mean, it's still a fucking island. You'd still have to at least boat it up.
But that's why it's protected. That's why no one has attacked it. Right? It was because there was always at least 7 dragons there, and 3 of them were tamed. And so you were like, yo, I don't just want to run up on a place that's called Dragonstone and got dragons. You know what I'm saying? So that is it. And we do remember that she asked Maester Orwell for safe passage there. And we saw Rhaenyra do the exact same thing a few episodes back. So it just lets you know that, like, as tight-knit as everything is being assumed that it is, and as sheltered up as everybody seems they are, there is real movement amongst the lower people, the lower class, and like the bastards being able to make it to Dragonstone. I mean, that many people making an exodus. That was like the Jews leaving fucking Pharaoh. You know what I'm saying? Like, there was a lot of fucking.
They had a much different reception when they got there.
Yeah, it was different. It was different.
Yeah, that wasn't the promised land they walked into.
But for 3 of them, for 2 of them, it was. Actually, you look, if I found out how many dragons there are and there's 30 of us, I'm not participating. I'm gonna find some other way to contribute to the Queen's cause. Okay, like, first of all, only so many of us can make it. And what's gonna happen to the rest of us?
Yeah. I'll tell you what. The first thing I would do is just try and like pick up something hot and be like, "Oh, it's not burning me. All right, maybe I got shot."
Maybe.
Yeah, I'm very curious about the fireproofness of all the Targaryens.
You better not have. You gotta have inbreed blood to do that.
But at the end of this episode, we get our obligatory Sons of Anarchy style finale montage, where we get a whole lot of different scenes, wrapping up where everybody ends up at the end of the season.
Invincible,
and we get
montage.
and hey, Sons of Anarchy did it first.
You're gonna need a montage.
Maybe the Shield.
The Shield? You think that they did it?
I think the Shield did it first.
Even Rocky had a montage.
Yeah, I think that they. That was Kurt Sutter. He's still.
I was gonna say he's both of them.
Yeah,
is Kurt Sutter the Scott Stamp of television?
Leave it in the comments. What do you guys think? Is Kurt Sutter the Scott Stapp of television? Do you know those two names? Do they mean a lot to you like they do to us?
Put it in the comments, baby. Let's go.
Tell you what, I look at one much more favorably.
Hello.
Yeah, actually, yeah.
He loves Scott Stapp.
Who doesn't? You beat me by a second. Then we get our Sons of Anarchy montage, and we see a brief glimpse of Otto in a cage,
just like that.
Yeah,
and
that was real, just like woo.
Yeah, super quick. And then we also see soldiers from across Westeros preparing for war. Now, how did you guys feel about this season as a whole?
We saw the Starks.
Yeah, we got a little glimpse of the Starks as well. How did you guys feel about the season as a whole and like this finale specifically? Do you feel like it was a satisfying finale, or do you feel like a lot of people have been saying that this show is not?
None of this matters.
Is not very interesting, not as interesting as the first season. Is a little bit boring comparatively. Bill, what did you think?
Go outside, nerd. Get out. Go. I ain't got time to be distracted by your
I'll see you guys later.
Chime-ins.
Always do it while
that was for the people who you was talking about. Like, I don't know. You felt like I don't know. Look, if you feel like this was a worse season than last season,
go outside, nerd. Get out.
That's all I can say. Is if you feel like it's worse, because to me, that should be the only metric, right? Like, is it we liked last season, right?
Mm.
Oh, I fucked with it. Do you fuck with this season? Period.
Mm.
If you don't, then they have not done you a service, right? They've done you a disservice as a viewer,
right?
But if you fucked with it as much as you did last season, or if it wasn't worse than last season, then man, this is on point. And as a person who's watched it from a point of view of like, this is what they're telling, like there was a book that had a story that told you what happened, but now we're going to take you back in a war type mindset. Like we're going to take you like a Brandon Stark or a Helena Targaryen, and we're going to put you in a situation where now you can see exactly what happened. To me, that is the beauty in this storytelling that's happening here. Jeff, what you think?
Well, Francis says those are nice finales. Yeah, Jeff, what did you think?
I thought this season was so much better than last season. I very much enjoyed it. I thought it was very well written. For this specific episode, I'm going to read exactly what I wrote at the end of the episode. Hey, HBO, fuck you for making us think we got a 90-minute episode at the end of the season and then making the last 15 fucking minutes credits and the inside the episode.
Yeah, I thought the episode was way longer when I started it.
Yeah.
Like,
that was a lot of not episode.
Yeah, I thought there was a lot more episode that was going to happen. I'm not mad that it was what it was, but
that was a real dick move, player too.
I mean, dude, I forgot that it was even the last episode. I fucking was looking for the trailer. I was looking for like, what's happening in the next episode? What's happening? Why is it not in here?
Why y'all slacking on the next episode?
Why we got 30 minutes of goddamn behind the scenes? We don't got no goddamn next episode. Like, what's happening? So I forgot.
I'm also a little worried that they're going to start next season. Like, just with like her sitting on the throne, just be like, yeah, okay. Flashback. No. There was a war, but she won, and now it's okay. Now, just Aegon is away with Littlefoot, and we're just gonna mystery, and it's like I swear to God, if they started like that, I'm gonna be pissed.
I'm gonna tell you right now because I don't know how to spoil. I'm not gonna. I'm not that I don't want to. I'm not going to spoil anything for you, but I can say this: that your feelings about that you can alleviate them. That is
no. What I'm worried is that they're going to show the war through a series of flashbacks.
No. That's not what's going to happen. So look, this is what was crazy to me. The way that this story is being told, there's the people who have issues with this was slow, this one drug out. It's your fault. You watched the first season, you loved it so much. Now they got to make it into 4 seasons instead of just doing 3 seasons like they intended.
That worries me too.
So now they got to stretch out a story that's really not that long. I'm just telling you, if you've read the book, this is a blip on the radar screen because it's a storybook of history.
Right. Yeah. Like it seems like, one of the things I like about these big TV shows like on HBO Max or Netflix that are adapted from books is they have enough time to really flesh out all those stories that are told in the books. It's like sometimes books don't translate as well into movies because it's hard to tell.
Oh no, yeah,
a 500-page book into a 2-hour movie,
unless it's Tom Clancy.
Unless it's Tom Clancy.
By the way, just gonna throw out there the Game of Thrones Avatar: Last Airbender series, 7 books, and it's completely finished.
Hello. That's faster than George R.R. Martin can work. Hello.
Hello. Yeah.
And that was while he was writing a steampunk novel and continuing to write a wizard book series that is going on its 18th book now.
I forgot about that. You know what, guys? Just go ahead and if you're waiting on a George R.R. Martin book to come out, shoot yourself in the stomach and come lay next to me. Because let me tell you something, he's too old to do anything.
Yeah, it's coming out the same year the Detox is coming out.
Bro, if this ends up becoming like the fucking girl with the dragon tattoo shit, I'm gonna be pissed.
If you want to wait on the the George R.R. Martin, first of all, I'm not doing that anymore. It's just George Martin. Nigga, until you write another book, you're just George Martin.
We're taking an R every year.
Yeah, no, I can't.
Pretty sure you're gonna be judging
R.R. Martin. Like, we sound stupid doing that. Like, no one else in life, if they made us say 2 R's, we would just do it. No, fuck that.
J.R.R. Tolkien.
Yeah, it's an author thing. I'm sure.
The R.R. part, like 2 R's.
We're gonna seriously keep taking R's. Pretty soon, he's just gonna be Judge Martin.
Exactly.
Like, I swear to God, we'll keep fucking taking them, man.
It'll be G Money after a certain point.
Like, I feel like I know this isn't true, but I feel like George Martin is the name of the guy who played Lamont's best friend on Sanford and Son.
No, that's Rollo.
I feel like that's the actor's name.
Oh no, yeah, no, I don't
it's
think
like George.
Right. I don't think you're
Rollo
right
played by George. I know that's not right.
I didn't say that. I said I think. Right. I said I don't know. I have no idea. I said I don't think you're right.
Yeah, it just feels right. But guys, let us know. That being said, let us know how you felt about the finale of HOTD. And what do you think is going to be happening in the next season? We're probably not getting another season.
Do you like Alicent now more than you did before?
I've always felt the same way about her. I've always felt just bad.
Snow bunny love. No, I'm joking. Go ahead, Jeff. Do you feel? I'm just doing quick ones.
Yeah.
So you feel the same, but Jeff, you feel the same, or you feel differently about her?
I like her more.
You like her more. You like her more.
Kill the burn bitch. Do it.
I'm not mad at her as much.
I think the thing is, she realizes both her boys are fucking monsters, and her daughter is actually still a good person. So I don't know. I mean, man, that's fucking hard. I couldn't have made that decision, but hey, she did.
Yeah, Pterodactyl Pie says, Allison, it's always a little too late. And I just want to say that to all the women in this show, Jesus Christ. Did you hear that?
Yeah.
Okay, those were explosions taking place outside. Welcome to Los Angeles. Anyway.
Cars?
No, those are literally they were fireworks. So yeah.
Chicanas.
But all the women in this show, like I said, this is a depiction of what did happen, taking us in a place of a space of like what really took place. I feel like the main focal point of that no one has caught so far is that women in the book are treated like they are throughout history, like nothing. Like they're just whiners, complainers, and they just act all distraught. They fuck people, they're whores. We send them to do whatever. You know, this series has shown that the women, like everything that hasn't happened before in the book, or that changed something that you didn't know how, it's been because women have been involved. When you have the white worm being involved, she's talked about in the book, but like we see that she has a lot more involvement than we did before. When you see Allison and Rhaenyra meeting up in secret, back and forth, it's given women a lot more power, reverence,
Agency.
It's giving them all the stuff, you know, Bickel tests all around, right? Like, and we've got more stories to come, you know, to come forward after this. I'm so interested to see how they do it. But like, Helena is made to seem like nothing in the book. Like, you know, she really has nothing much going on.
Until this episode, they kind of do that in the show too.
But you kind of like, they do it in the show, but they do it in a way to show you how everyone else treats her, not so much to show her that she is crazy. Because if you're, as we are, we're catching the little tidbits that she's throwing down. Yeah. But I'm just saying, like, it's way more female influence driven world than was presented in the books. But that's clearly because that's how life is, right? Like, women contribute to real life. They don't just sit around and say yes sir, no sir.
Right. Yeah. It's interesting the way that the things are depicted in the show, because the perspective is definitely between, like, it's either through the perspective of Allison or Ray. So like it's always a female perspective of this show, so it makes it very different, even from House of the Dragon. Even from Game of Thrones, with that show. So it's been a very interesting journey throughout this series. I'm very excited to see what's going to happen in the next season, which probably won't happen till like maybe 2026. Pterodactyl said in the chat, Allison, it's always a little too late. And I would say that like both of these characters are always a little bit too late, because this is like I said, this is a mirror of a situation where Ray went to Allison pleading for peace, and it didn't work out very well. But like they're both a little bit too late for these tremendously terrible situations that have happened in their families. That seems like there's no way to turn back. Let us know in the comments how you feel about this season as a whole, or this series as a whole, and what you're excited about seeing in the series going forward. But
what are you excited about seeing going forward?
Man, I'm just excited to see some more drinks and dragons. You know what I'm talking about?
I was going to say the same thing.
Magliato. With Prosecco in it.
Oh, stunning.
Yeah, I'm excited to see Olivia Wilde and Olivia
Wilde. Shout out to Olivia, fan of the show, friend of the show.
I'm excited to see Olivia Cook and Emma Darcy just like doing some incredible acting all over each other. That's all I'm excited to see.
You totally gave away that Olivia Wilde is a friend of the show. She's gonna be so mad.
She's gonna be
sorry, Liv.
Sorry,
Liv.
We call it 13 in these walls.
I'm gonna find some reason to talk about her movie, A Vigilante, on this channel.
No, we're gonna have her on. We're gonna have her on, and we're going to just refer to her as 13 the whole time. Shout out to all the House fans out there.
I'm sure she'll love that. Before we get out of here, we have to ask our panel, which is comprised of just our friend Jeff, who is
hello.
Y'all, he's part of the family, but y'all just hate him because he's light skinned. But can you tell the people where they can find you on the interwebs?
Of course.
whoever
You can,
always leaves last leaves it on loop. It's crazy.
No, it just does that when you.
You can always try and Skype me at Don Cheadle's driveway at littledickie2.com. It's
Yes,
it's because of the hackers.
Hacker.
Mhm. You can try and find Jeff Madel on Facebook at MadelJeff on Instagram. But as always, the easiest way is to just find me here on Monday nights talking trash.
Yeah,
Talking trash.
You can always find him here on Mondays. Like, who knows what's gonna be in store next week on the comic book corner. Bill, do you want to tell people where they can find you on the interwebs?
You can find me. Yeah, I'll tell you. You can fucking find me. Oh, you didn't hit me with the button.
I pressed the button, but it didn't do it.
There you go. Yeah, you can find me on the Bantha Bunch Show on Nerds at Night and the Drunk Banthas channel. Bantha Bunch Show is at 7 p.m. Pacific time every Thursday. That's 7 p.m. Pacific time every Thursday. It's your favorite cousin, Meow. And we also may have marijuana and drink while we do it. But I cannot promise that it'll be mostly. I have to talk a lot, so there's very little smoking and drinking that gets done. But yes, what do I know? Do I know what I'm going to talk about? I don't know. I'm probably going to talk about a documentary, which is what we do on this show. And we talk about hard-hitting issues that are related to nerd culture as well as politics, which are, if you know anything about politics, you are the biggest nerd in the building. So there we go. Yeah. So we'll probably be talking about more Trump shit. I doubt it, though. I don't know. I have a very small window for Trump. And he got a big butt.
Thank you guys for listening to the Drunk Banthas podcast. We do this every Monday at 8 p.m. Pacific time, but don't forget to like and subscribe so you get updates on new videos. Check us out on Twitter, IG, TikTok, Letterboxd, likewise, all the internet things at the Drunk Banthas.
All of it.
Until next time, stay safe, my little small folk, and may the force be with you.
And also with you. Peace! Go home, you little shit turd. Nerd. Go home.